vengeance.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 134 of the Super Civil Servants Podcast. My name is still Greg, the Bat Daddy 52. And folks, I can finally do laundry. But I got to tell you, doing homework now, like projects, for the first time after this project, I feel old. Like I am sore in ways that I have never been after doing something like this. Now, granted, it was an extensive project, and I've been only sleeping like 4 hours. I've been up like 3 in the morning every day for the last few days. So that could have a little bit to do with it. But yeah, I feel old like after doing this. Fulfilling enough to accomplish. But that's special. We got our show this week. Got co-host, friends with us. Sarah, what's going on?
Oh man, it's been a week. Back to like the daily grind or like the weekly grind. Was like all pretty much in and out last week with family and all that kind of good stuff. So had to kind of come back to reality. So I still need another vacation. It'll be okay though. It'll be great. Get the hang of you guys though.
Always use another one. What's up, Ross?
Here we go. Dude, I just drank 2 energy drinks back to back. Let's do this.
Get amped up like the Flash. Hopefully not like Ezra Miller. So Ooh. That's a segue right there, ain't it? We got some news this week, don't we?
Run into it.
I mean, what we got? We got a little bit of news this week. We got our regular shows. We got the Thor Love and Thunder trailer. Let's just knock the news out of the way, or the stories that we got out of the way. And it's nothing really big, but just some things we picked out. What you got, man?
Ezra's fucking up again.
Dude, what's wrong with this guy? For real.
So it seems to be about that perfect time, right? To where they would say, hey, we're going to, try to take DC in another direction. You on board? And he's just out like throwing chairs at people and shit. Like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like yes or no would be a good answer, but I'm pretty sure he's just trying to like mushroom stamp his answer in perfectly in Hawaii. I don't know what's going on. Apparently he saw the coconuts randomly falling sign. I don't know if you ever seen that in Hawaii. They always have those street signs up on the sidewalk. Whenever you're walking, they're like, coconuts will fall down on you. Apparently one hit him in the head and damn near damaged him because he's just wrecking shop. Don't know why. Don't know what's wrong with him. I mean, you look at him, you question. He's not right.
Yeah, it does. I'd be pissed if a coconut hit me in the head too. But what have we learned from our past actions and just general and living in society? Like, how does one react to something like that? A random act of a coconut? Yeah, certainly not the way you did, right?
No.
So you got to wonder what's going on in this guy's head, like, because this is definitely not the first time this has happened. Like, it seems like I don't even know how many times this kind of stuff's popped up in the news. Like, you can't defend him. It
just seems like it's escalating because it's like you have like this. It seems like each event just keeps getting just adding on to it, just like worse and worse and worse. But
I've heard people say that. What if he really thinks that he's the Flash and that he's doing these things thinking that he's never going to get caught? And I can't help but think about that scene from Big Bang Theory where, Sheldon drinks coffee and he's wearing his Flash costume and he's just running everywhere. And I'm like, that's what this fool's doing up in Hawaii. He's like, no one can see me. Chair.
Just because you're on an island does not mean that people do not know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you are not on an island that is like completely remote.
This won't make it back to the mainland. It's fine.
My question is, have you heard of any punishment or any kind of...
Yeah, he got fined like $500 for like the last one or maybe this one. I don't know. It was like real small. And I'm like, yeah, he's just going out causing havoc because he's just like...
$500? I would get charged more than $500.
Dude, you'd be under the jail. Not in the jail. You'd be under the jail.
Well, I mean, it comes back to the same thing like the Anthony Starr stuff, that celebrities live by different rules.
Yep.
What was it? The coach, Jim Boeheim, hit a guy with his car and killed somebody, and was coaching in the NCAA tournament the next day. It's like, yeah, that's
nothing
crazy.
Is better. Nothing is better than getting shot in the face and having to apologize to the guy who shot you in the face. That one will always go down in the top 10. But yes, no, I don't know. I don't know what is. There's something wrong with him. Something really, really wrong with him.
I think his grasp on reality is very, it's very small.
Yeah.
I don't know if this dude's living in his own world or what, but I mean, you can't act like that. This is
He's gonna
not.
get shot.
I mean, you're not on a film set. I mean, you're not on a set. I mean, this is real life. And like you said, I mean, if you step up to the wrong person, they'll throw you down. They don't care who you are, and not everybody knows who he is.
Yep.
Well,
Because
on
I'll tell you
top
right
of-
now, when I see his face, when I see pictures of him, I'm like, that's not the Flash. No way that's the Flash. That's some weird emo kid lost in his life somewhere. I don't know what's going on with him.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind Ezra Miller in that role, but you're right. He's never looked the Flash to me. Well, like, not even talking about the suit or anything, just him as Barry Allen. He'd never really looked the role, but it's okay. I can live with it. My only question is, like, I get he may be fined or have to pay some kind of penalty or whatever, but like, does his job in jeopardy? Like, do the studios do anything about this? Like, is he going to see any kind of repercussions? I'm sure there's probably something out there about this. People talk about it, but
Well,
is
you
he just
also,
Flash?
like
Still.
last week, we talked about the fact that that DC and Warner Brothers and Discovery and that whole turnover of everything. I mean, I think they just shut down CNN Plus, which was a news thing that Discovery just brought into their wing. They got that from AT&T, and they screwed up. Like, they completely launched this sucker like a week before Discovery took over in ownership. And do you know Discovery already has their platform streaming wise? They're shutting everything else down now. For the DC Warner Brothers side, whoever is going to end up heading that up, because it will be one person or like a team of people, like a council of the minds when it comes to like DC. But even then, I mean, we're getting news now that Wonder Woman 3 is going to happen. So that whole, like, they're still making movies. I don't know how much they're going to include him versus like say, hey, we're going to flashpoint you real fast and move on.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like definitely a possibility or a road they would go down. I mean, if you're planning on being able to reset everything, with just this one little move, that's your opportunity to do it, right? This is your clean slate moment.
Watch the post-credit scene just be him literally getting the axe. What happened?
Like, how much more is Warner Brothers going to take a hit? Because especially to DC, because I mean, of course, there's another little trial that's been going on this week as well. That's bullshit.
Yes.
Some bullshit.
That's so stupid. It is so stupid.
Dude, she straight up got caught, from what I understand, because apparently her makeup set that she used came out in 2017, and all this other shit went down like 16 and before.
Well, either way, Johnny Depp looks like he's about in the gutter. Like, he looks like he's pulling himself up barely. If he's not in the Jack Sparrow makeup, he is. I mean, we already know he's crazy, but at the same time, he looks like he is, like, it is coming down on him.
Well, my thing. Okay, this is my thing. Okay, the one little blurb or whatnot I listened to the other day was how he was just chilling in the bed, just chilling, reading his book, and the way he said his book is the cutest thing ever. He was just chilling, minding his business. She comes here acting a fool. I told Brian, I said, you know how many women I know, if they had Johnny Depp in the bedroom, they sure as hell won't be throwing shit at him.
Mm-hmm.
I know what they'd be throwing at him, but it sure as hell won't be no hands. I don't get that.
Okay, so through context, I'm assuming we're talking about the whole stuff with Johnny Depp, because I actually have no idea what y'all talking about other than the Amber Heard.
Yeah.
Well, it's the defamation trial. It's where he's suing her for the defamation because basically
I've heard a lot of things on that. Yeah,
it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. This lady is a nut.
Well,
they're both not far off. I'm telling you,
But the
he's
thing
looking
about
he's
it
looking
is-
like Steven Seagal right now in like the late '90s, and he's got me worried because when he starts saying stuff, he's got that half smirk on his face, and I'm like, does he know that he is like got one over on her, or does he know that he's not telling like the absolute truth? But either way, I'm like, more bad publicity for DC.
Absolutely, because I think let's see, what was it? Of course, you have to take with a grain of salt some of the stuff you see on Twitter, but It's like, did she stop following Jason Momoa? Jason Momoa start following Johnny Depp? Oh, this drama. I'm like, dude, this is your on-screen lady. I mean, you're not supporting her.
Well, apparently she doesn't mind kicking her man out of the bed for eating crackers. So we'll see how well that works.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It's a crazy story, man, and it's complete Hollywood.
I mean, it's not even. They're going to make a movie of this, 100%, 100%.
It's going to be the saddest thing ever.
And it's going to be some craziness. If they have the scene where she shits the bed, that's it. That's it.
Johnny and Amber instead of Pam and Tommy.
Greg, she shit on the man's bed.
I haven't gotten that detailed into it, and there's probably a good reason why.
Who
That's part of it
does that?
I mean, come on, we've all pooped the bed before, right?
Not in
and then we turn 4. So 3, I can't remember.
God, I thought you were gonna say, and then we turn the mattress over. Like, that's so white trash of you.
I mean, if you can't afford a new mattress, you got to fix it somehow, right?
Yeah.
So right now, DC's dealing with, they got the Amber Heard shit, which that came about, this is finally just hopefully coming to a head for all this. And with the Ezra Miller. I'm like, anything else?
Yeah, new ownership. I mean, that would be the big thing, right?
Yeah. They're really excited about that.
Yeah. People were appealing for the new step parents,
You got Zack Snyder making his new movie because everyone is talking like, are they going to bring Zack Snyder in to run DC or whatever the case may be? But he was making his was supposed to be his Star Wars spinoff. I think it's like Rebel Moon, I think is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's going to be pretty soon. You're going to start hearing him probably reading what he says on Twitter versus anything else. If he's on there at all anymore, you're going to start seeing this stuff. I don't know if they're going to try to box him in and be like, hey, how much will it take for you to redo all of our DC? Like the way you wanted to the first time, but we weren't quite ready for it.
Don't tow with me, dude.
You just
don't tow with me, dude.
it?
That's never going to happen.
Oh, okay.
It's never going to happen. As much as I would want it to, yeah. But especially with like all this crap. Like I know comic book movies don't get good raps at award shows, but like, didn't Justice League win like an award at the Oscars, and so did Army of the Dead? Like both Zack Snyder films won the 2 new awards, and those are 2. Like everybody from the Oscars is so pissed off, but those are 2 fan awards, and like aren't fans the one who watch the shows? Like aren't they the ones who should decide which the best movies are? Otherwise, this is just a vanity fair for your inner circle.
Yeah,
if the fans' votes don't matter, then what the hell difference does it make?
Yeah, because
who cares if y'all like these movies? You're making these movies for people to like, so why don't you boost up the movies that people enjoyed?
Yeah, because majority of the movies that they nominate, I'm like, have you ever seen them?
Nope.
Yeah,
and I get it. There's a lot of movies. I haven't seen every movie, and there's a lot of movies that I wouldn't watch. And I'm not saying that just because I don't watch it, it's not good. But a lot of times there's movies that I've never even heard of.
Exactly, because it's just not the marketing.
Once again, I don't
there.
hear about everything, but yeah, you're absolutely right. Sometimes I feel that's why I don't watch the award shows. I feel lost. Like most of the time, the people winning, I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, but now you got slapsgiving all the time, so who knows what's going to happen?
But yeah, I would. That would be pretty cool if they did that. But there's absolutely no way that's happening.
Yeah, how are they going to top next year?
Well, what they did do was boot Will Smith, clearly, right? And he's been getting a lot of drama from, I guess, the stuff that he was already a part of and how much they're actually going to allow him to continue to do. Because I guess, not a lot of people like that Bright movie that was on Netflix, but I guess that was, in for a sequel and that got canceled. But they're like, no, that got canceled before he slapped Chris Rock. I'm like, yeah, but all of it looks now like he slapped somebody, and once he slapped somebody, all got canceled. But Netflix is hemorrhaging as it is, so they're on the biggest losers of this week, and they are coming after people. Like they're going to start cracking down the password thing and everything. They're projecting 2 million more losses after whatever the initial was, 200,000 losses in subscribers. 2 million is a drop.
The
Dude.
problem is they got too big for themselves, man. They
Yes.
really did.
Well-
Netflix puts out great product, but there are
Yes.
other streaming services that are cheaper and just as easily to access that also put out great product. When you were the
But-
only one on the market, you could dominate that. You could pay the quarterback whatever you want to, and guess what? You know, that was the league. That was the league standard or whatever you had it at. But now there's so many other players in the game. You know,
Dude, I was there with Netflix from the day one. I remember going to my
Back from them
mailbox going,
DVDs.
hell
mailing
yeah.
DVDs. Yeah, exactly.
And it's funny, Brian and I have the conversation. He's like, well, I don't even watch Netflix. What do we watch that's actually Netflix? You know, Netflix. I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie. Besides
this-
specials that come out like Umbrella Academy and stuff like that, I don't really.
but
ever
it's still,
turn on
that's
Netflix
still
anymore
network.
either.
That's still Netflix content. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
still,
what I
you
mean.
know,
Other than
they're,
that,
They
I
are
don't
the
go to
most
Netflix.
diverse
Yeah.
streaming network or company, period. I mean, like, they have picked up all of their international stuff. I mean, to a point to where, like, you can't escape it on your own, like, front page feed or whatever.
look, I don't know why. When I'm looking for something to watch, I don't go to Netflix. I go to
Yeah.
Netflix when I know there's something on Netflix that I want to watch. But beyond that, I don't really search Netflix for. If I stumble across something, it's because my wife's in
Yeah.
control of the remote. You know, and it's nothing against Netflix. I like Netflix. I don't know what it is. It's just, you know, there's so much more out there now.
yeah, but Netflix gave us Arcane.
Well,
Netflix take it for
Netflix brought it to their platform. Like,
And that's the
like,
point. Where else have you
Arcane
found it?
had nothing to do with, like, Netflix, or it wasn't funded by Netflix or any of that. They just said, hey, we will take it if no one else will. Go ahead and bring it here and, like, put it up on our streaming network. Because everyone was asking that question too, of if, like, Netflix is going down, like, if they're pissed, like, what's going to happen? Where are they going to start making cuts at?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, well, they can't cancel Arcane. All they can do is let someone else show it, because that has nothing to do with Netflix, other than that they're putting it out. I watch the stand-ups and stuff on there from time to time. I got it, like, last week, like, I watched like 2 of them, like, some filthy fucking stand-ups. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I actually, now that I think
Hilarious.
about it, I think I watched. I don't know if it was on Netflix, but I did watch a stand-up of somebody. And it was some dark humor, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
like, it was really, really. Okay.
But they, I mean, they've just renewed that, God, all the dirty animated shows and, like, everything else they had with, God, not F. Why do I keep wanting to say F word? Either way, they renewed a bunch of their stuff, and so it's funny because the news is going both directions, which it's going to, because that's just how it works.
Right. Well, it's funny we're talking about Arcane. Nathan says that they fired their entire animation department. He says they canceled in development projects and no season renewals off from the wrap, and just of animation, of course. So maybe we get Arcane on a different platform.
Well, you'll get Arcane because, like I said, it's not theirs. All
Yeah,
they're
that's what I'm saying,
doing.
on a different
Well, it's
platform.
going to take, what,
Oh.
how many years before they probably bring it back to 52 anyway, so does it really matter?
Well, now they have everything done. I mean, like, you know what it's like when they sit there and talk about how animation departments have to spend like a solid year just creating stuff, and then from then on you can decide what you want to do with it, as far as if you just need to render something a different color or figure out the other shapes in your closet of tools that you have or whatever. But I mean, it should not take 6 years like the last one did, hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right. Well, I mean, Netflix, I don't know what to tell them. This is a company that's been on top and made a ton of money for a really, really long time.
Yeah,
So I want to say,
when did they even start? What year did they start? I mean, even with the DVDs, because I mean, that
2004,
was
2006.
that was forever ago.
I just want to see. Nathan says, "Well, we'll see Arcane." I'm sure he will. But I want to see like what they're even losing 20,000 or 200,000 subscribers, what their quarter was like financially last. Because I'm willing to bet they still made a shit ton of money. So like, I want to feel bad for them, but at the same time, it's really hard to feel bad. It's really hard to feel bad. It's like an NFL player who doesn't get the contract because he wanted 35 million. They were only offering 33 million. And so, well, I'm not going to play. I don't feel bad for you, dude. I really, really don't. You know,
they have had exponential growth from the time that they went onto the internet. I mean, it just straight up. And that's why they haven't cared a whole lot about like password problems or anything else up to this point because they're still making money hand over fist. It's funny, you read an article and they're like, the top 30 shows that Netflix should bring back. No one else says 30 shows. If they're talking about a company, they're like, 2 shows that the company should come back with. For Netflix, it's 30 shows. Like, that's all that article. I'm like, that tells you something right there about Netflix. You know, they just canceled. Like, nope, not bringing it back. People like that show, though. No one cares. We don't want to make it anymore.
And they can do that. Yeah, they can do that.
When you make 500,000 shows, you can cancel 100,000 and no one's missing anything. So, but away from Netflix, the company, like the production company I'm not too fond of, Sony, they are doing it's not Into the Spider-Verse. What is it called? Across the Spider-Verse? They released the dates for their 2 Across the Spider-Verse movies, and then they are doing a Madam Web movie. So you're going to see an animated Madam Web, and I think that's coming out right after the first Across the Spider-Verse show or movie, whatever it is. Good gracious. But it's funny because, I mean, you're getting 3 things from them that are animated, which are going to be better than all of their live action stuff, in my opinion. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I just can't. I can't find it in me to give them an honest shot. And you said you like Morbius, right?
Well, it was. I just don't understand the hate. I mean, I guess that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying it's one of the best things. I mean, it's like I don't know. Maybe I just look at it differently than other people.
And like, to be fair, like, I don't care for Jared Leto or Leto, however you want to say his name. But that's also like, I don't hold him at fault for that Morbius movie. I don't hold him at fault for anything. I'm just not a big fan of his. So when it comes to seeing something like that on screen, I'm like, meh. What am I going to do?
I will say now, if there were some parts of it that big screen, yes, I enjoyed seeing the big screen. It might have get kind of lost on the small screen, but I don't know. It was interesting, to say the least. It was visually interesting, let's say.
I may watch it, but
I'd at least give it a shot when it came out. I mean,
yeah, I still haven't watched Batman again since it's been back on. I've had a busy week, so really I just put on short things that I don't really pay attention to.
Oh yeah, that's going to take some time. That'll probably be one night where we're just like, just binging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet either. I need to, but it's one of those things I want to sit down and focus on it. Like, I really want to sit down and enjoy it. So I don't want it like on in the background. But
I think I might just turn it on one day and just like fast forward it to like when you first see the Batmobile and just turn that bitch up and let it rock the house. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
I can set that for you, send it to you, so you can just have it on repeat.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Sorry, where were we? So, what else do we have news-wise? Anything?
I mean, it's been even more confirmed that we're getting the Werewolf by Midnight from MCU. You brought up the what was the thing you were texting about?
The Jason Momoa in the Minecraft movie.
Yeah,
and it's weird. It's a big actor in a movie. I don't really understand how you'd make a Minecraft movie, but I'm not gonna lie. I don't play Minecraft. I've seen my kids do it.
That's why it's been in the works since, like, I don't know, 16, 15.
Yeah, I mean, is it even still relevant? That's the thing I don't get. Is it still relevant?
Unfortunately.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, my kids have grown out of it. My kids are into, they grew out of Minecraft and went to Roblox, and then from Roblox they went to what's the damn one, Fortnite. And then I got them, phones and iPads and VR headsets, and now they don't do any of that stuff anymore. But it's cool because I got my gaming system back.
What was really cute was my 2 kids were actually playing the Switch last night and playing Smash Brothers, and I'm like,
"Oh,
yes!" And they actually got along. I was like, "Okay, y'all can stay up for the next 30 minutes. I don't care." I'm like, "You're getting along. I'm good with that."
My kids got introduced to Smash Brothers at that anime convention where they had the gaming room and they were playing Smash Brothers in there. I haven't played that game in so long. That was so fun.
I don't think I'd ever played it, and I'm like watching what they're doing, and Gage gets so like obsessed with like leveling up his characters. I'm like, dude, just drop it, go to bed. But I've got to. No, you don't. And he's like a crackhead when it comes to it. I'm like, oh my God, what are you? Go to bed. Go brush your teeth.
He wants to get it done. Look, I don't know who Nathan's talking about. He says, God, his Bruce Wayne sucks so bad. And if he talked to Alfred like that one more time, I was going to judo chop the fuck out of him.
Yes.
Which Bruce Wayne is he talking about?
He's talking about the Batman. It's especially like, when Alfred wakes up from a freaking coma and then he's sitting there and be all emo bullshit on. I'm like, I can't believe he lied to me. Oh my God. I can't believe he took care of you.
His Batman was much better than his Bruce Wayne. I'll give you that. I still enjoyed the performance very much, but there's been better Bruce Waynes. But I did like the Batman more than I thought I was going to. I'm gonna go back and watch it again, and hopefully those sentiments stay the same because I want to like the Batman. I have a feeling I'm not gonna change. Not gonna change for the worse. I don't think I'm gonna see something that's gonna be like, oh God, this movie sucks now. So that should be fine. But who knows? So he thinks the Bruce Wayne sucks so bad. I'm not gonna lie. I agree with that. There, I think we all had the same sentiment.
And I'm gonna say this too. Like and this was the one thing I worried about and I know we're totally chasing squirrel here, but when I found out Pattinson was going to be Batman, I said, I swear, if he does his broody Bruce Wayne, all I'm going to see is Edward Cullen. I swear. There was probably about one or two instances. I'm like, I looked at Claire. I said, Claire, there's Edward. She's like, who's that? I'm like, you about to watch Twilight, and I'll show you. It was just like that whole little sparkle, especially the way he looked at Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. I'm like, oh, that's not Bella. Stop it.
Well,
he literally turns into Bat. Like, how does that work?
If her image of Batman's not ruined, don't do it for her. Don't force her to watch.
She still loves that movie. She'll eventually figure it out. Figure it out.
I'm sure. Nathan says emo Wayne sucks. Yeah, I am hoping that is one thing that I hope to get out of this is while I can get the character in this movie, I hope that we do get I don't want to say more jovial, but like I do want him to be more like a person you would interact with in society as while he's Bruce Wayne, not so secluded, I guess is what I'm saying.
I think he'll evolve. Yeah. I think he'll evolve. Now I think he'll kind of come out of his little shell a little bit. So
he better. I mean, you have one of two options. Only one of them works.
Nathan, I totally agree with you on this, and that was my biggest problem. He said, other than Batman being God mode or being on God mode when it comes to bullets, it was a good movie. And you're right, that was.
Did you forget
powers of the suit, man?
Well, Batman '89. Do you not remember when Keaton got blasted right in the chest, and then he came right back?
Well, and that I get a little bit of movie magic, but once again, there's a difference between one blast right to the chest and two guys standing right in front of you, completely unloading on you, and you just walking right through it. And then later in the movie, one guy shooting you with a shotgun and it blowing you, almost killing you. Like in the same
Somebody said shotgun because I was like, you could. I'm just going to copy this audio and I'm going to use it against you one day.
No, I get it. I understand, but I mean, come on, that was one of my big issue too. So I get you there, Nathan. I'm right. But once again, all movies have
Batman.
Like that, exactly. It was Batman. It was good. But, all right. Well, y'all want to get into some shows, or do y'all have anything else you want to talk about news-wise? Oh, wait. Before we do shows, we got to watch the Thor: Love and Thunder trailer. I know Nathan's going to love this.
Yeah, Nathan, have you seen this yet?
Oh, he's seen it. Okay, so Ross, you really enjoyed Ragnarok, if I remember correct.
I did.
Okay. So you have that group of people who really enjoyed Ragnarok, and then you have fans like Nathan, who did not. I liked Ragnarok the movie. It was not my favorite version of Thor, but I was okay with the movie.
First one, right? You like the first movie the best?
Yeah, kind of. I like Thor to be a little more serious of a character, but he's okay because Hemsworth carries the more jokey Thor.
Without going too crazy.
Yeah, he carries it well. So he does good with comedy. So I'm not too upset with it. Ragnarok was really, really, on that jokey side, but it's okay. Like I said, it was still a good movie. It's just not my preferred version of Thor, but it's okay. They don't have to cater to me. They still make a great product. So this trailer dropped the other day, and it's teaser. Let's just watch it, and we'll talk about it as it goes. Let me pull it up real quick.
I was more interested, am still more interested in seeing Love and Thunder than I am any other product that they were going to come out with. Just because I did like Ragnarok and I like where the multiverse is going,
Okay.
but there was something about watching Infinity War and Endgame back to back, or as they came out, that really got me triggered on Thor, to where I was just like, I need more Thor. Like, I just want to see it all, because he was going through so much stuff at one time.
So when you say everything, you mean like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, the shows,
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow, all that stuff? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we need more Thor in our life.
I hear you. All right, well, let's check it out. So, no sound. So, you get a little history lesson with Thor here, I guess, where he decides he's going to be a hero again, and he's working with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which there's going to be a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy in this movie, a lot more than I thought from what I see. But this is only a minute and a half trailer. This could be all in the first 10 minutes of the movie, which it probably is.
And then, of course, the fact they had to, bring in the 80s, like, GNR, Sweet Child. I'm like,
Hey.
sorry.
Is it any year? Has Chris Pratt lost a lot of weight?
Oh yeah, no, he's looking good.
I mean, he's lost.
How about Thor? He finally lost what was. I mean,
the beer gut. Yes,
because I had a problem with that. Sorry, I had a super problem with that. I got it, but I still had a problem with that. I mean, shit happens, and we, just kind of sit around and just gain that weight. But I mean, he's a freaking god.
I will say, when we get to this scene later, where you do actually get the reveal of Jane in the armor, it looks
so good.
It looks
Chris Hemsworth's face. Oh my god, I just love it. I love it. I love it. I'm excited. This is going to have like a Guardians Ragnarok vibe to it. I don't care. I love it.
I mean, it's.
I love it.
I wonder how much they're going to be involved in it.
What I love is everyone talks about how buff that Hemsworth looks like, and then look at her. I mean, I don't know if that's any animation or what the deal is there, but I mean, if that is her truly, then the girl went to the gun store.
Listen, man, I've had a problem.
She's got little pew-pews, but she's got.
I've had a problem with Natalie Portman. For some reason, she's a very pretty woman. She's a good actress. It's just in every role I see her in, I'm just like, even in her role here in the MCU. But that looks good. She looks good in that armor and that costume. I was like, they did a good job with that.
Now, I will say the last time that I rewatched like the first Thor movie with her as Jane Foster, I was like, okay, I can deal with that. Now, the second one, not so much.
Second one was just bad writing. I mean, you just have to chalk it up to.
Patty Jenkins, wasn't it? The second one. She directed it. I'm pretty sure.
Did she direct it?
Pretty sure.
There's a lot of things I try to block out. That one is kind of one of the things on my list I block out.
Yeah.
You just watch it because you want to just keep, because it's right. It's within the MCU. You have to keep up with, but
it's the movie itself is confusing. I mean, like, it's got good parts in it, but like I did see the meme the other day of Jane Foster standing in the whatever stuff that she was wearing whenever they brought her to Asgard, and she was standing there like to meet the mom, and then underneath it had the picture of her as Mighty Thor, and it said, "Now your kid calls me mommy too." And I was just cracking up like crazy. I'm like, hell yeah, like she has turned a leaf. She's turned a whole damn tree.
Well, the good thing about Thor in the MCU is I do love they're continuing his continuity. I don't know if he's going to remain Thor after this movie. I don't know how it's going to end, but you've seen 3 different versions of him basically through all 3 movies. It's almost like a different character in each movie. I'm not gonna lie, I like him in the Endgame in Infinity War. Like,
Dude, the Viking Thor, I mean, like when he came out with the braids and that gut, I'm like, get it, son. Like, go and get your Odin son on. Like, whoop some ass.
let me actually rephrase that. I don't like him I don't like Fat Thor. I liked him pre-Fat Thor. I don't like Fat Thor.
It was such a shame.
I forgot that was in that movie too.
Yes. Huh? Fat Thor has some issues. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
Sit around eating and gaming. I mean, things happen.
Yeah. It was so funny because he had one of the best parts in Infinity War. I mean, when he showed up to Wakanda, I mean, it was just like game on. And then
that's my
completely
Thor right
flipped. at the end, like, because I get it. Like, he put all that shit on his shoulders, and if he really does, he's the strongest Avenger. Then he took a hell of a gut punch, and then developed said gut afterwards because of all the stuff that he went through.
100% agree, Nathan. Infinity War Thor. I think that's what we're also saying here. Infinity War Thor is peak Thor. Yes.
But then again, like the Ragnarok, when he like has that with the the lightning and that, and it's just kind of.
Oh yes, that's one of my favorite moments too.
Absolutely.
Mainly because I'm a Zeppelin fan, and like that, like my family's a big thing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I think what it is with me with Ragnarok, and I think Nathan kind of feels the same way, is it's a little too much sometimes. Like, I don't mind the jokey, I don't mind the stuff being put in there, but like, okay, just say for instance the very beginning when he's spinning around on the chain. Like, you probably could have done like maybe 2 less spins and been okay. Right. Still got the same joke, and like I get that. That's where you went just a little too much on that, But
I get that. Like, Waititi has a real big spectrum with a lot of people. But if he would have gone like full Waititi, I mean,
oh yeah, you wouldn't.
It could have been bad. Like, I think that they definitely, like, he walked on the line. Very much so.
Well, I just think Hemsworth himself, he's always had Thor as, like, even in the first movie, the way he was just so, like, over the top, just so, like, full of himself. That just, especially he's like, oh yeah, I'm another, and and it just kind of just keeps going, and then of course and then he had to Waititi size him, so.
His delivery is what made the Waititi jokes work, because if it wasn't for his delivery, the whole thing could have flopped on its face. Yes. But I am a real big fan, and I know that Ragnarok is a movie like a few others in our world that like really divides a lot of what people like and don't like when it comes to like comic book movies. Right. But also at the end of the day, like, I'm not a massive like DC movie fan. Like, I do enjoy the movies, and I watched all of them, I think. And at the end of the day, I prefer humor. Like, I want something funny. I remember as a kid opening up comic books and reading them and laughing out loud. Before LOL was a thing, you're just literally laughing in a fucking comic book store because it's funny and you like it, you enjoyed it. So for me, like, I enjoyed the ass beatings, I enjoyed the humor, I enjoyed the costumes, I enjoyed the scenes, and you put all that in your head. Like, you create that off of a page of a comic book. And for me, like, that's what I enjoyed about it. That's why I liked Ragnarok.
Valid argument. I like it. Nathan says, after reading Planet Hulk, fuck Taika's Korg. I haven't read Planet Hulk, so I guess he did discover to that character. I'm not sure. Likely what the case is, but yeah. And once again, like I said, it's not a bad movie. I don't think everybody knows I'm not a big fan of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but once again, I don't think Marvel puts out anything bad. It's just some stuff lower tiered, at least by your taste, than others. But that's the beauty of Marvel, is it touches so many different, feel good spots on you. You know what I mean? Like you can have a sad movie or a funny movie or a dramatic movie or an action packed movie. Like, they hit a lot of different things. So got a lot in their wheelhouse.
Well, they have. In this movie alone, they're looking at. You got Thor in countless costumes. You've got merchandising alone. This movie is going to push all sorts of stuff. Oh, yeah. I've heard they had like 6 Jane Foster like Funko Pops, and I'm like, why? Like, why do you? But then they're like, well, everyone's changing costumes. I'm like, here we are again, just sell the kids stuff, could make money. But I'm more interested in the fact that we have all of the gods starting to really show up. Like, Moonknight has given us Egyptian gods. This movie has not only given us, the Scandinavian, Icelandic gods from Odin and everyone down, but now you're getting into the Roman gods. And we saw nothing other than like all the pictures that people keep
comparing
really,
Zeus's.
Yeah, they keep really giving Belle's gore like a real hard time, because I don't know, no one knows what it's going to look like. That character is going to look like post CG or whatever else they're going to add to it, and who knows if he's just not. If he's like keeping down like whatever real badass like hero costume he's going to have until like the moment where it comes out. But the fact is now that Gore the God Butcher is going to be in there, and they are into their third realm of gods, if you want to consider it that way. Where else is he going to come in? Like, I got a feeling like if you're going to see anything come towards the end of Moon Knight, like you could see Gore. You could see him, like, this last episode started off with a bunch of statues. And the whole time, like after watching the Thor trailer, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, if he just came in there, he could just like baseball bat all these gods and just like, goodbye God, and start killing them one by one.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that when we talk about Moon Knight. But yeah, look, until you see the finished product, don't make a judgment. No Batman, all kinds of stuff. But
Unless you're clickbaity.
yeah, and the thing is, I don't think they would intentionally put something bad out. Like if you're gonna have something really badass, they're probably, unless it leaks, I don't think you're probably gonna see it till the movie. There's some stuff they want to try to withhold. But I know she didn't see Jane Foster in there at all until the last scene.
I was questioning if she was going to be the girl with the blue hair, because before the trailer had dropped, images were surfacing of like someone who had seen it and was taking screenshots of it. And I was questioning, but I don't care enough to go back and actually really look.
Right.
I just know that he's clearly going to be going through a transition in this movie. So I don't know if he's going to be trying to get back to her, or if he's just going to be aiding her as the next Thor, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go and figure that out during the movie, as it's kind of supposed to be.
The hammer, though, I mean, the hammer is something that I've really been trying to figure out with, why does she have the one that was busted, And if it was busted, how did it come back together? I didn't know that there's Asgardian superglue.
Or is
it was forged.
A different multiverse.
Ooh, that's true. Yeah. Ooh, what if that is the case?
I mean, it comes out early July, so you don't have that long to wait. Mm-hmm. And could there possibly be some kind of cutscene in Doctor Strange?
There's gonna be a lot of things going on.
I got my hat standing up over here. Yeah, that'd be cool fun. I actually never even thought about it like that, about it being a Thor from a different universe.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how isn't that how it's working? Like, I thought that was like what was happening.
No, I thought it was actual Jane Foster.
Oh, I thought it was just Jane Foster from a different universe. I thought that's what we all I thought that's what everyone just kind of
maybe it just kind of went over my head, and I was thinking something different. I thought it was actual Jane Foster from the story. So look, and there you go. Panther Pickles, the same thing. But yeah, that's probably what it is.
I thought that I just assumed automatically the moment they talked about bringing her in, like as soon as they brought her out on stage in Comic-Con and she held the hammer up, I'm like, oh, they're going multiverse clearly, because it was already rumored at that point and all the stuff that they were coming out with. And Doctor Strange already had the title that's how she was going to get brought back in. They're just going to pick her out of another multiverse and drop her in, or Thor, vice versa. So
like a claw machine. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, when does it come out? It's got to be soon if we just
July 8th.
July 8th? Okay. Got to be soon if we just got the first teaser. We'll be getting a trailer.
Well, because like I said, Doctor Strange is only a couple of weeks? Week after next?
Yeah. Are we gonna get a full trailer for Doctor Strange?
Oh, they just dropped the last full trailer.
Oh, I guess it was a minute and a half. Yeah. Teaser. So. Okay,
cool. You mean for Thor? Is that what you're asking?
Thor, yeah.
Oh, no, this is just a teaser. I'm sorry. I thought you meant Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I just meant for when at Thor, you're gonna get
or Doctor Strange will actually get a Thor
trailer. Yeah, get a Thor trailer. Yeah, sorry. It's funny because a lot of times when that happens, like the first time I see a trailer at a movie that's just the movie's premiering, and I see the trailer on screen for the first time, they just dropped the trailer the day before. I'm like, wow, I really would have liked to have seen it for the first time on screen, instead of seeing it's cool to see it on my phone, but I would have much rather seen it here in this giant arena.
That's what happened with that Doctor Strange one. Pissing me off, waiting until all the way at the end of that damn movie, and then all of a sudden, boom, like, this was like 2 days old. What are we doing here, people? I don't know. I'm on board. I want the strongest Avenger hat that he has when he's working out. That's like a straight up 80s worker hat when he's just whipping the chains. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see what there's funny because when he's on the boat with the goats, There's like a neon sign that's like cocktail. I don't know if it says cocktails and draft or whatever, like draft beer or something, but it's very uh, the movie cocktail esque, like a neon sign on the ship. There's a lot of small things that are in there if you just watch it real slow, that are really cool, and it's very pulling deep on like the fact that he's with the Guardians and like that era that Peter Quill is a part of. It's real cool having like all that stuff just kind of intermingled together. Because even like the vest that he's wearing looks like a Ravager jacket that he went to go put his arm into, and he ripped the sleeve off as he did so.
Well, I'm digging the 80s vibe. I mean, I like that. That's gonna be it's so colorful.
I think of the things that people, other than comedy, that people really liked about Ragnarok, that was one of them, was that psychedelic vibe that it kind of gave you. So that they're like, okay, let's roll with this.
And pop culture music. I mean, like you know me, I'm a soundtrack guy, and Ragnarok really got me with the Zeppelin tunes, and I love that part of it because, I mean, that made Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah,
having that soundtrack, yeah. And
I have both those soundtracks on vinyl.
Second one's not as good. They're both pretty good.
Are you crazy?
Second one is good.
Second one, I'm
The
not saying it's
second
not
one has
good,
like one
but
of
the
my
first one's
favorite
better.
songs ever.
Yeah, it's good. I'm sorry.
Oh, careful, she got to come through that screen.
See that? She gave me the finger out. This finger. And I was like, oh no. It's the mom finger, not the FU finger. That's
Mm.
That's why I can't wait for like Guardians 3. I'm like, what kind of soundtrack they're gonna have for that one?
Yeah, I think the first Guardians was so good that
It was.
took the wind out of the sails of the second one. And
They still have some good shit on the second one though.
they did. Look, I know that Greg doesn't like it that much, and once again, like, that's for you. But at the same time, like, it is still a crazy, well-made movie. When you break it down and start paying attention to all the little things they did into it or added into it, it shows you like the depth of their filmmaking and what they do with their stories, and it's just crazy. I can't wait for the third one because I do definitely feel like what's his face is at the top of his game right now. You know, we get Peacemaker, that's fantastic, and so when you put out
my gun.
Yeah, all the stories that he's making right now are just fantastic.
I mean, Peacemaker was good. I could say Suicide.
Squad
movie wasn't great.
You're right. I got to take a step back on that one. Yes.
But
yes.
let's put it this way: if he's a stock, he's on an upward trend.
Yes.
With Peacemaker, and that's a good sign.
I do feel like that the Suicide Squad movie came at that really dark period of his time, to where he was still reeling from the Marvel cut.
Yeah, you can definitely tell a little bit of that from there. All right. Well, y'all want to hop into the shows? So, Sarah, you've not seen Halo yet. So, do you want to do Picard or Moon Knight first?
Let's do Moon Knight. Since let's keep with the
Okay.
keep on that train right now.
So, I got a little bit spoiled on Moon Knight, which is not really a big deal. I don't really care about it. It's not like it was something I was that upset about knowing what happens, because I don't know a lot about Moon Knight. But the whole the psych ward thing. And that just a story that popped up in my timeline for Google, and that's apparently a comic book storyline they're following, the psych ward thing. So so that's pretty cool. I don't know anything about it because I haven't read any of Moon Knight, but this show's still crazy, still difficult to figure things out, but things are starting to become a little more clear.
Yeah, I like this one a lot more because I mean it's taking the chaos from like the first three, and it's starting to kind of funnel down into, now we're trying to get into it's not as crazy. I could actually follow this one. This one to me made more sense than the first three, but I guess, like I said, it's just you're building onto that. And I knew this is what was going to happen. I just knew it. I just knew that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, they want you to feel as discombobulated as he feels. And clearly they did a good job. So,
well, it's like I always tell everybody, you know, when any kind of time you're watching a new show, especially like Doom Patrol or Umbrella Academy, something, watch it through the first like 4 episodes, because if you don't know anything about any of this going in, the first few episodes are going to be introducing you to these characters and establishing a problem, you know, and then once you've done that, then brings you into, okay, how are these characters that we now know going to fix this problem? So usually third or fourth episode. So I tell everybody, get to at least there. And then if you don't like it after that, then you might not like the show.
Well, what was interesting about this episode was the fact that you kind of learned a little bit more about the personalities and like who is who, and like who's kind of like alpha and who's like, just this I guess it's more a relationship of Mark and Steven, because I was just like, who is it Mark? And then you have Steven kind of cut back over here somewhere. And I mean, I still have questions, don't get me wrong, but I think it kind of gives me, a little bit more graspability of what he's got, a little chaos that's going on in there. But the dynamic between those two is hilarious.
I will throw you off a cliff.
It's like, I'll throw us off the cliff. He's like, did you kiss her? Oh, well, and then he punched himself. I'm like, seriously?
I was going to ask, was that
yes.
Mark punching?
Yes.
Yes. Because he kissed her?
Yes.
So he can get a little bit of control, I guess, if he gets angry enough. Hey, listen, that opening scene, okay? They're getting shot at in the desert. And she just rolls an unconscious corpse down the sand dune. And then the guys are like, he looks dead. I'm like, yeah, he probably is. Like, he probably would be if you roll an unconscious body in a sand dune. He's probably going to be dead. But I just thought it was amazing that she gets in the vehicle and like they drive around the vehicle. They're like, check the vehicle out. And they drive around it. She didn't shut the back door. They don't think to get out and look and see if somebody's in there, like ducking down. I was like, oh, okay, that's whatever.
To be fair, you didn't know the powers of Flare Girl before this. And all of a sudden she becomes a superhero out of nowhere. So,
dude, he was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh yeah. I said, I'd have already died. I would have already died. I'd have already died. Yeah. Can't you see me trying to pull myself up off the ledge? No, I'd have fallen right in that damn asshole.
Can you explain? She throws a flare into the back of the truck. I guess it's full of ammunition and explodes in like 0.9 seconds. Just making
movie magic.
Make sure I understood that. Yeah.
Look, flares do burn at an incredibly hot rate, right? But at the same time, that's a super fast time to ignite some ammunition. So unless there's like some straight up dynamite or something back there, which it wasn't because that didn't explode like dynamite, which sparks. I don't know what kind of rounds they have, but yeah.
Panther Pickle says he hasn't watched episodes 3 and 4 yet. I hope we don't spoil it for you. So,
yeah, we're trying not to, but
yeah, but we're gonna talk about it.
Earmuffs.
Yeah. If you want to come back in like 15 minutes, we're going to say if you want to hear about it when we talk about Picard, because I know you want to get on that conversation. So Alexander the Great is a tomb he finds, right? Is it that easy to open up a tomb? I mean, Oscar Isaac doesn't seem like a ripped guy. Doesn't seem very strong. He just kind of pushes it like a washer on sliders. I said this to the other day. It's super easy.
Ding.
Yeah, movie magic. Okay.
Yeah, the more difficult part was the hand
down the gullet. What if you're wrong? What if it's not down there? You know? Yeah. What if it's not down there?
I just had a hard time with that because it's like I've read so much about Alexander the Great, and it's like just such a mythical, iconic, like historical figure. I'm just like, how could you do that? I was like, oh my God, I would die.
Because that's the thing. Like, he is such a nerd for all of this history stuff. And then he has no problem just, nope, we're just going to go ahead and take the top off of this. And then we're just going to reach down into that throat and, tickle him from the inside and then figure out what he's got in there.
He was having a little nerdgasm.
It makes no sense. Like, why would you do that? Like, I could see Mark doing that. If they would have switched the personas real fast, that would have made more sense. But to have Steven do it, I'm like,
dude, he was riding on that high from kissing Layla. What are you talking about?
he was definitely a love-struck motherfucker.
They were like face to face. They only kissed one time in the episode, but they were like face to face about to kiss like 17 times in this episode. I was like, wow, like either do it or get away from each other.
Trying to build that,
Your ropes around your crotch aren't tight enough. Hold on, let me get them tighter.
Hey man, F a Swiss seat for real. Those things are so difficult to do and like so uncomfortable. But I guess whenever you're rappelling down the side of the building, it's being a little.
You just make a loop and put your foot into it and lower yourself down. There's a whole lot easier of a way to do all this stuff.
Yeah, I
Either way, at the end of the day, they made their way into another tomb. So I thought that the hero in her conversation, where he was really starting to turn her, thought the conversation was good. I felt like they'd be yelling at each other a lot louder than they were. They were talking nice and peacefully, probably from, I don't know, 30 to 50 feet away.
Yeah.
It's the echo.
Endless pit, like you said.
There's probably no other sound going on in there either, too. So that probably helped. But,
what about that thing?
The blue thing? Yes. I wanted to ask. It looked like it was from the
The mummy?
Yeah. Was that a mummy?
That thing snatched her at that wall, nightmare fuel right there. And of course, here I am. It's pitch black. I'm sitting here with my phone in my face going, oh, Lord. I was like, Bruce, that's thing in here, buddy.
See, that right there, I didn't have a big problem with that because it was a short scene real quickly, but that is the kind of horror movies I don't watch with things like that.
It's like that snatchy stuff.
I can handle a little bit of horror, but when it's stuff like that, I don't watch it.
And the hands, you have the hands sticking out, and you're like, oh, this is not going to, this something. No.
I didn't like the clicking.
Gotta have its own way to talk, I guess, But
like
they never
Predator.
explain that. You never get any explanation of what that is, or it's just there and gone.
Well, they're known to cut out tongues, so the fact that he could actually still click was an interesting thing.
But then when you saw those canopic jars and blood, I'm like, this is not good because somebody just put something fresh in there, and that's no.
Still one.
Because Steve's reaction when he saw like that slab, and he's like, "Is that was?" Oh, yes, that's why I'm not in the medical field.
Dang, I had something on the tip of my tongue like that a second ago. God, I hate when that happens.
Was it Steven's hand?
Let's go. No. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. We were talking about Alexander the Great thing with the mummy. Like, I'm not that I have anything against any stuff. I just don't know anything about it. How long do mummies stay like that?
Well,
the whole point
embalming
of that.
process.
Yeah.
But will it last thousands of years?
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, because the embalming process.
Get up on your history knowledge, man.
I just that.
The embalming process is like they take out all the innards, and of course they put in the canopic jar, so you have all the major organs and whatnot. And of course, the cool thing is Evie said in the mummy, she's like, they just take the little hook, just stick it up your nostrils, scrub it like an egg, and just shoot it out. That's what happens to your brain. Yes, and then what they do, and they had
that before.
And they had there's some kind of chemical substance. I mean, that's where the embalming came from. Honestly. They
really
pack it with all the
brain.
different, and then just wrap it up and.
Wow.
Because all these mummies we have in the museums and whatnot. I mean, they've been around for a minute, and of course the arid direct, and of course being buried in the desert and that kind of thing, that kind of helps too. So it's not really like it's a.
All of that stuff really helps because they're able to so much DNA replication off of all of those mummies because they're preserved better than anything. And so not just the actual tomb, but all the people that are in the tomb with them, because they, for some reason, kill live people and put them in the tomb with them. So that's real fun. Either way, though, you're going to see him pretty much look spick and span in his little mummy mask, which... The whole face thing, covering thing that he had when he was just able to pull it off in one piece, I'm seems a little movie.
Yeah, I don't think it would have quite worked that way.
No,
yeah, quite worked that way because
convenient for the moment. Yeah. Well, once the single guy by himself got the tomb open, I'm sure that answering the question,
Yeah.
he's going to rip the face mask, the masking off. Was well, if he can do that, he can do this.
I'm sure any archaeologist that ever watches this is probably like.
Yep.
No, don't do that. It's cringy.
It almost seemed like he felt like that a little bit at one point in time, but then he was just like, fuck it, I get to do this now.
Well, and that's the thing about it, because it's when he walked in there, he's like, oh my God, it's the tomb of Alexander. Because, that's one of the, they're still looking for that.
This is Macedonian.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, what? Okay, this is about to be, and even I was like, that would be the coolest thing ever, but, got caught up in the moment, sorry.
So we get a little bit of Layla's background, not really background in this. You learn a little bit about her father, and then you learn that's how her and Mark met, was because he was on that archaeologist dig mission. What do you call it? Adventure?
He was probably security.
Ah, gotcha. He wasn't actually digging.
Or whatever the situation happened. I mean, clearly he was on the firing squad line, so he's the one with the gun, not the one with the shovel. I do feel like her dad. I got the vibe that her dad was very like Hank Pymmy, like he was very much the original
guy.
Yeah, like if you're looking. So, I thought that was just something I just thought of when I was just watching. I just wrote that down. That it was very Ant-Man-esque that he could be. Mark is almost like the Scott Lang to the Hank Pym, like he's the one following up, and maybe Steven more so is, and Steven's the one that's, partly where that persona came from was probably that.
So, any theories on how we get the suit back? Because they would have to free Kanju to get the suit back, correct? And they've got.
I'm curious to see how they're going to free him.
I mean, Kanju has to be. And so, if they put him on the wall with the rest of them, that's why at the beginning I was like, after watching that trailer, I'm like, this is prime. If there are these many gods that are like trapped in these rock statues, then what? Like, who else is in here? Like, is it America's Most Wanted or like the top 10 celebrity list? Like, who's in here? And it's funny because I would imagine that most like Egyptian lore, like if you just break whatever it is, then like spirit comes out,
Yeah.
Like it's very simple. Like there shouldn't be a whole lot to it.
Well, my question is with Egyptian gods, is there like a hierarchy of them? I mean, I'm sure there probably is just about every kind of god, but like, I guess the ones who are in the room doing the determining are the ones who are the head gods that are above
Osiris is basically, I'm trying to go back and remember. So you have Osiris and you have Isis.
Okay.
And then you have like all the other ones, but it was, I can't remember like how they're all interwoven because it's been a minute.
It's like the regional. It's very much
like So you have like different variations, like you have the god or goddess of this, and this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
It's. I can't really remember like the genealogy of it. I can't remember because I know there was like some of them were like the sons or daughters or whatnot, but I don't think they all were.
That makes kind of like Roman gods.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very similar to Greek mythology. I mean, any kind of, any type of mythology like that, you have that type of, like I said, that type of genealogy. You still have like your higher ups, and you have the ones that are like the daughters and sons and that, and then you have like the ones that are, underneath. But basically, yeah, that was like basically all the ones that are like the main ones, because there are a lot of other obscure ones, but these will be like the main ones that, if you look at any of the tombs or whatnot that you would see, you would see Anubis, the jackal head, you'd see Horus, the what is he, the hawk or whatnot, the bird one. Yeah. So but like I said, but then you have our because I know Bass is like the one that's got the cat head, and then but anyways, that's how it works. Sorry.
But they changed so much, like even in this episode you had what was essentially the Eye of Ra, but they called it something else because I don't know if it was like facing
Horus.
the other direction. Yeah, Horus, there you go. So all of that, like there's so much that I don't want to say overlays on top of something else, but it's very complicated. I mean, what else are you gonna do when you're in the desert, staring at sand all day, moving enormous rocks? You're just going to create a bunch of stuff, Yeah. We're going to play in your fantasy world, kind of like we're doing.
There you go. Well, it's funny when that the Eye of Ra thing, because that's the only thing I know from Stargate. When I saw that eye, that's what I thought, and they called it something else, and I was like, oh, I don't know enough about this.
But the thing about it too is like the way they were carrying like the little statues. So it makes me wonder. I mean, would you break it? Would that, or is there some type of,
or do you break it to release the spirit?
Or is there some kind of enchantment,
reverse ritual?
Some kind of ritual, and kind of like because they did the ritual there to create it. So I don't think it would be as simple as just breaking it. I wouldn't think.
Well, I wouldn't think so, but the simple fact that they did their little ritual and made it, and then it like whittled its way out of sand, or like the sand like degranulated and then made it work somehow would tell me that you could probably just break this sucker and like everything would be okay.
But I mean, Khonshu did say to Steven, he's like, tell Mark to release
To
me.
find me. Yeah.
Well, so okay, Ross, you're bringing up the good point of that's a good way to bring in a god killer, to have all those gods there on the wall.
Mhm.
But I know a couple weeks ago, it was last week, a couple weeks ago, somebody had mentioned the gods being in on the whole release of the evil one, and like these head gods really have an evil plan. If that was the case, do you think you'd be a situation where all those gods come back at the end as almost like a revolution? They've all been trapped because they don't agree with the plan.
I'm just curious who those gods are, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The simple fact that you don't know who they are, because I would imagine that, like, it's probably like a penitentiary for everyone, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you showed your god hand like to the humans when they weren't supposed to see it, or if you curb stomped another god on the weekend and you were out partying or something like that. Like, they all seem to be going to the same place.
Right.
We don't know the background story on all of it, but who knows? Maybe there's some. We're probably only going to see one get released, and then clearly Khonshu is probably going to talk trash about it and be like, nope, we're not breaking all of them out. We just need to find a way to put Amit in one of those and call it a day.
Yeah, there you go. Have either of y'all ever seen Tomb Busters?
Mm-mm.
No.
I actually want to see if that's a real movie. I should look it up. I don't know if Tomb Busters is a real movie or not. The VHS that he was watching in the psych ward.
Oh, that I was like, are you going to tell me about an A&E show called Tomb
No.
Busters? Like, is that
No.
where we're at? Like,
That was the name of the movie that he was
Oh,
watching.
it's old school VHS, dude. When I saw that scene, I was like, where the hell are they going with this one? Did I like totally miss something here? It's like they totally made a right, and I was kept going.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch Legion?
Did I watch what?
Legion?
I started to, and I don't think that was one that I ever finished.
No, that was a real crazy show, and you really need to be on like a almost like a weird level to truly sit down and get into it. But Legion was the story of Professor Xavier's son, and that's the whole thing. Is that he's burdened with all of these powers, and like that show on FX was showing like how it screwed him up like mentally, and he was in a psych ward, and it took me right back there as soon as he was in that psych ward, and I'm like, oh, like this is almost just like Legion. All the people that were in there were from the first 3 episodes or 4 episodes. Everyone that he came in contact with.
Was that the show where the first episode he like breaks out of psych ward or something like that, or like fucked everybody up? Okay, yeah, I've seen
Aubrey Plaza, and I don't remember his
name,
but Aubrey Plaza played the mental sidekick or co-star, better word.
Okay. Let's see, back to Moon Knight. I enjoyed the psych ward scene. I liked seeing the characters in different roles. So late, and I liked how they tied things into to really make him think like maybe I've just been here the whole time and this is crazy, because I'm pretty sure that's the premise of the comic, is that they're trying to make him think that these alter egos are just his imagination and this is really him. But even the foot tied to the wheelchair, like all he noticed the cane, all the little things he saw, and he just kept saying this reminds me of this. This reminds me of this. And then you get to see actually Steven and Mark interact with each other on a physical level.
Yep.
In the same room together. This show leaves me with questions every week. I guess it did them too, because they were like, how is this possible? I don't know. Once again, I haven't read that.
What about Harrow as the psychiatrist? I'm like,
dude, every bit of it. Once he went, like, I guess we probably shouldn't spoil that. If you're going to watch it, Panther Pickle, I'm going to leave this one part out. But the whole reason why he got to this place was a little bit of a shocker. But the moment he shows up in this place, everything that you saw, that he touched, that he was doing, every bit of it was connected. And like you said, the cane, Harrow, the guards, the people that were in there, the pictures of people drawing Khonshu, and I mean, drawing everything like the moon, like they called out.
Khonshu? I thought that was a hummingbird.
No.
Dang it. It makes more sense that it was Khonshu.
Dude, everything in that scene from like that point where it went to that is all from the first few episodes. Even the room that Harrow's room that he's in, like his office, is from the second episode. They just reskinned the set, painted it, and put some other stuff up.
You did a good job of making you, if you woke up in a situation, be like, "Holy shit, did I really dream all this stuff?" Like, is this really real? Like,
I love that. I love the way that they tied all of it in, because it was such a mind fuck. I mean, like, it was perfect.
Agreed.
And then they had they found each other. The fact that they hugged each other, was real. Like, it's you. It's very much like the Spider-Man meme picture. And then they find the other sarcophagus, but they don't take that sarcophagus is standing up. Like, he's trying to punch his way out of it, and either that thing is either tightly clad shut, or he just can't make it out, take the top off of it, even as it's standing up. So I'm assuming, like, once again, if the internet and all the people are true, that Jake is in there. I wonder what we're going to do to get out of there, but we come to the end.
That who's in there?
Jake, one of the other personas.
Oh, okay.
The one that was killing people in the episode before last. Because you remember, if he blinked, you don't remember that, do you?
I don't remember that. No, there was a Jake in the other episode?
No, he wasn't in it, but another persona came out, because it wasn't Steven and it wasn't Mark. And
I had to Wikipedia that to find out.
Flew over my head then.
I have not read it.
The whole point is that there's a whole nother, it's almost like there's an even darker side to him. And so if he's not Steven or Mark, then who is he? And in the first episode, it really confused you when you were trying to figure out, why is he not remembering everything? Episode 3 pushes it in a different way, because it's like, well, the two of them weren't present when that happened, so who else is in control of the body? And that's why last week I made the comparison. Like, he's very much Jane from Doom Patrol. Like, someone's got to be up there.
Okay.
So they just don't know how many people are there. Like, they haven't decided to start taking a tally of who's inside of Mark's head.
Okay, that makes sense. I do remember making the Doom Patrol reference, because that actually made it make a lot more sense for me thinking about it like that. I just don't remember the Jake thing. But
well, Jake has not been mentioned. It's just the simple fact that on the last episode, he was killing people, and he didn't remember any of it.
Like you said, the internet is predicting that. Okay. Gotcha.
Well, it's predicting that as Jake, but we know that it's a different persona. We know that.
I do remember the State Farm joke from last week.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Maybe there was a Jake. Man, it's been a long week, y'all. I'm telling you, 4 hours sleep a day is not good. I think anything else with Moon Knight? We're halfway through now?
The very end.
Or is there 6 episodes?
There's 2 more.
Okay.
There's 6 total.
2 more.
Hungry Hippo.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did want to talk. I forgot about the end. See, I have my notes, and I remember I wrote Hippo.
I'm trying to remember.
Is that a god?
Got it. Yeah. I can't remember
which by the way,
is.
still look better.
Starts with a T, but the goddess of, I think it's I didn't get it down, but I know that it's like the goddess of like fertility or like rejuvenation. So they're probably going to try to unfracture Mark's head a little bit to try to figure it out. But it's just funny because you had that hippo, that very small girl voice that came out of that hippo, and you're like, weird.
That's what I always. You got to be either super deep or really high.
Mm-hmm.
To get the feel for it, so.
But she's that god's known all over the place. I mean, everyone's been making the connection to Lost and how it was the statue in, I don't remember what season, but you see a statue of a goddess, and it's the goddess of like fertility. And so it's actually the same goddess. Man, Toridi, weird. I can't remember how it said, but yeah, very much a force that the fact that she's known for.
Tawarit?
There you go. That.
Like I said, it's still
fertility
a King Shark.
Rejuvenation. Yeah.
So the rejuvenation thing is probably going to be the kicker here. I mean, unless he's shooting blinks, which we don't know. So Layla hasn't taken fraternity or maternity leave. So
All right.
We'll see.
I wonder where she's at with all this too. Like, she's in the psych ward, but is that in his mind? Is he in his own mind? Okay. So he's in his own mind right now. And
okay,
also,
then I'll do the spoilers since they don't bother him. He got shot. Not only did he get shot, he got shot twice, right in the chest.
there you go. Yeah. Well, actually, I totally forgot you were going to put that because I was just about to ask. When he was falling down, they never got the statue from him, did they? Like they never.
Because they probably
never came.
grabbed something.
No, remember because he has it in the tomb. They all come in. Then for some reason, like a dumbass, which I don't know how you have like 8 guys with guns pointed at you and you attack the first 2 in front of you and nobody takes the shot. What's the point of the guys with guns that point at you? But nobody took the thing from him, and nobody came closer to him. Huh? So I don't know. Maybe got lost, and I just didn't see it get dropped. It's possible.
The scene of him. The funny part is that, like right off the bat, the water looks like it's deep enough to drown in. Like that's it. Like it looked like it was about 6 inches deep because when he was laying there, like it was like covering his eyes, but like not his nose and his mouth.
Yeah, he was waiting basically.
Right,
Yeah.
but that cinematography of that whole entire shot, I thought was magnificent because it was almost like as he was dying, they were showing him sinking, but instead of sinking, they reversed the shot. They turned it on itself, and it made it look like he was ascending, which a whole show being about gods and everything else was very not methodical, but it stood a point because it was like, he was dying, but like he was going to heaven at the same time. But in reality, like he was drowning in water and just going deeper. So it was a real good play on the camera shot versus like the show and like what it all stood for.
I didn't look at it like that, but yeah, it makes sense when you say it. You look at it deeper than I did. I didn't even notice that he was ascending. I thought he was descending. I don't know. I did notice there wasn't much blood coming out of those 2 bullet wounds straight to the chest. I was like, that's okay. But it's a Disney show, so they're probably going to edit all that blood out after, in a couple of weeks.
How about, okay, when I saw Layla, when she had whatever she had around her neck, I'm like, she's about to pull some Moonknight shit with that. Because, he pulls it. What did she do?
Oh, last episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, get up, lady.
It was very much
there. I pulled him back to put him back.
It was very much like the bat, like take the bat off the chest.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna lie. When Moon Knight does that with his things, I was like, wow, that's something that like Pattinson with that Batman, that little metal thing he has right there. That should be something he does, where he takes that and
they just keep coming out like one after the other, like
take another one.
What were those Ninja Turtle toys you used to play with? That you would load up the pizzas in the back.
Oh yes.
You'd hit the button and you didn't know how many you had left, because you just keep shooting the pizzas out of the back of them, like those.
Fucking Ninja Turtles.
I love Ninja Turtles. You got anything else on Moon Knight, y'all? We've covered a lot of the episode.
No, I'm interested to see because we're now past, I believe, all of the press that saw this show in the beginning only saw the first 4 episodes. So the last 2 are going to be where the story truly turns. So
we've got a penultimate next. So yeah, it should be pretty good. Should leave us on a good cliffhanger, or at least in a spot where I hope they nail the ending. I'm sure Marvel will, though. I don't have any reason to believe they won't end it well.
I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Moon Knight in the future.
That's my question.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to, turn him into a enormous mainstay. He's not going to be like one of the 6 OG Avengers, but at the same time, I think that it really lends your storytelling to be pretty fun. They can make him show up just about anywhere, do anything.
Yeah. We will see. I don't know. But 2 episodes left. Penultimate next week. Can't wait to see it. Liking Moon Knight so far. Another Marvel home run.
Yeah, I'm liking it more.
Yeah. Good. Well, y'all want to move on to Picard, which I'm liking more and more and more every week. Still have some issues. Every week there's something I look at. I'm like, I got to ask them about this. But
I can't wait to hear about these. Because I have some issues too.
Well, first of all, just butterflies are completely out the window.
Oh, they're just...
We done fucked up the timeline. Now we're just going to do whatever the hell we want to do.
Yep.
We'll go through the episode and start talking about stuff. I have questions about Q and his motivation towards the end, but y'all know this stuff better than I do. But I think that they're not going to change Girardi's costume for the rest of the show. Not a bad choice. I'm okay with that. Like cut the budget. Don't worry about getting her new costumes, new uniforms. Just keep her in that red dress. I'm okay. I like the fact they put the boots on her, but red dress.
Yeah.
I didn't know this information about Borgs and metal, which I thought was pretty cool, and it's pretty cool they tied it into 2024. But I do have issues with the technology they have in 2024. We're 2 years away from 2024. I live in this world right now. We're not going to have that kind of stuff in 2024. It's not happening, But somehow or another they do in this universe. So that's one of the other issues I have. But yeah, butterflies, man. Yeah, this show. What y'all think, man? Are y'all liking Picard? It's my favorite of the three we're watching right now every week so far.
Oh, see, I keep going back and forth. I really like Halo.
I really like Halo too.
But yeah, this one's almost to its end. I mean, it was episode 8, I think.
Yeah. So 2 left.
Yep.
Okay. So we're getting close. We got 2 penultimates next week, then, which is really cool. All right, well, let's break it down. Let's talk about this episode. I finally got a little bit of explanation with Rafi and her anger with Elnor, is the guy's name that died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So okay, she feels guilty because she's the reason. Okay, so given that little bit of knowledge, which I didn't know before, I don't know if y'all knew that before, but so that seems like a scene that they may not have shown before. Like it was just assumed they were good friends, but that wasn't shown. Okay, I can see you having a little bit of guilt on you, even though it's not your fault. I can see you having a little bit of guilt. Still don't necessarily agree with the way she reacts to a lot of things, given the situation. But
you don't know from the first season, though.
Right.
Because
that's the other thing.
To keep it simple, in the first season, she is on the verge of like holding herself together, like right on the cusp that she could fall on either side, whether it be or like continue to live life. And Picard comes and actually kind of gives her purpose. And then through Picard, Elnor, that relationship kind of like really blooms, I guess. And she uses that to kind of cure herself from her
downward spiral
depression, shit she's going through. And so you see that in this episode, just a bit of it. But not knowing that information, you don't know the weight behind it.
Okay. What I like the scene with Picard and young Whoopi when they're getting interviewed.
Yeah.
Or interrogated, I guess you could say.
Are you extraterrestrial? Nah, bitch, I'm just normal terrestrial.
The only thing I didn't like about that was I didn't like the quick turn. Like, I even thought it was cool how, like, she sent him the message of, humans always live in the past. And it took me a second to figure this out. And I was like, okay, I get where they're going with this. I just didn't like that how quickly the guy was like, I've spent my entire life doing this. And you explained it to me. And now, just like that, bam, 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 here you go. I'm going to help.
Well, it might have been one of somebody that actually validated what he saw, what he's been going through. It's like someone actually is listening and understands and knows what I'm talking about.
And I get that. And maybe that was it. I just feel like it was too quick. Like it was fast. It was almost immediately like, okay, you told me this, cool. Let me go get fired and let's roll.
It came from the callback from the beginning, and that's the only thing that I didn't like is that they gave you the breadcrumbs, but they didn't give you enough to get home. So that's basically exactly what you're saying. Like they gave you a little bit, but when it happened, you're like, whoa, like we went from 1, 2 to 10, like real fast. So it felt like we did skip some parts. Now I do find that to be a problem with either the writing or the directing of the actual episodes. This one was directed by the same one as the last guy, or as the last episode. So that part I totally understand. I'm with you. I understood as it was happening what was going on, but I'm like,
right.
It felt like it was like we're going to need you to just come with us on this journey. Like, just accept it. Yeah.
Or either where Picard is very, very persuasive.
He is. Like every
because even I was like,
damn. He's a great speaker, that's for sure.
I mean, for a bald British dude, he could just about pull the knickers off of anybody.
Yeah. Dropping them quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think.
I can go a whole lot deeper. Just don't get me started. I can go a whole lot deeper.
There's like 5 storylines, like 5 different storylines running through this episode that all merge together at the end. And as I'm watching the episode, I'm thinking, I'm like, man, they've got like 5 different things going on that I got to keep up with. Like, how is this all going to come together? And they've, like I said, the penultimate's next. So they've kind of brought you to a point. And I guess the biggest issue is the Borg, but then you also have the issue of Q. And I have questions about Q's motivation. So, I mean, it's at the end of the episode, but we're just kind of skipping around anyway. Q is dying, or so he says. He's dying. And he's realized it. And what he wants is to have a sense of accomplishment. Is that what I'm going for? And his sense of accomplishment is screwing with Picard. And that's what this whole thing is about, is screwing with Picard. I mean, I get, like you guys said, that he loves screwing with Picard. But, like, that's kind of like your last dying wish to make you feel accomplished, is just to screw with this guy. It just seems weird. But once again, you guys have warned me that when it comes to Q, that's kind of the way
Shit don't
things
make
roll.
sense.
Yeah, so it was interesting, you know, and I was like, well, okay, I can see that, but I see that the big problem now is going to be the Borg Queen, not necessarily Q. But there's a few other things about that. Now, with the Borg Queen, yeah, mind blown, exactly. That's why I sent you all the thumbs up at Picard. Good, because I got questions and I thought it was good. But
dude, I told you last week and the week before that, I'm like, you just wait. Like, she's going to be the problem. The fact that they brought her back.
Oh, yeah. So Rios has brought this couple, the mother and son aboard. Like, and now they've
Rios has a lady friend now. So I'm like,
Yes.
Are you going to stay or are you going to take them with you? Because something's got to give here.
Something is. He's either going to be gone or she's coming with him, because she's a good character. You know, it'd be interesting to see, do they have a doctor in their little crew?
No, they got a hologram.
Oh yeah, I guess Girardi is a doctor, isn't she?
Well, no, I mean she's
a like a symbiote, or not symbiote, a cyborg specialist, but I mean she's more or less knows enough about.
Well, normally on ships like that they would have like a hologram.
Yeah.
What
Like
if
a
they tried
holographic
Girardi
doctor.
out for her? Oh, because they said they might have to kill her to get rid of the Borg Queen.
Oh, they're not going to kill her. She's a great actress.
Yeah, she is.
They'll figure out how to neutralize the Borg Queen. They'll figure out. Seven's gonna figure that shit out. I have no doubt. She'll figure that shit out.
Just put your hand down her throat, reach down, and then pull the cyborg stuff out.
She'll probably get a simulator or some shit like that, and then she'll end up like turning that shit around.
So, with the Borg Queen, she goes and gets Brent Spiner's character, and she promises him basically to be like the savior of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Was she just bullshitting him to get those elite soldiers? Do you think
she wanted help? Yeah, clearly, but I mean,
it seemed like at the end he was kind of like, "Oh shit, I didn't know you were going to do that," type thing. Like I thought maybe she just used him to get the elite soldiers, and then now maybe she's going to ditch him.
He's got no idea what he's messing with.
That's true.
Look, there's the thing. Like when the Borg shows up, like if you don't know the Borg, like there's a reason why everyone gets freaked out by the Borg.
Mm-hmm.
Like at that moment, you know, when you see her in the red dress with the batteries and everything else, like I mean, like I got major like gatekeeper vibes from like Ghostbusters, and then you realize that she's going to go see Soong, and like then she starts saying, you know, your ego could look like this, or it could be dead if you don't want it to be like this. Next thing you know, he's like, no, I want the good one. Like, turn me into a statue. Like, and let me be known for the rest of my life and the rest of everyone else's life. Right. She's like, cool, bring me some people. And then all of a sudden, she is like simulating the hell out of people out of nowhere. With the, I don't know what you call that. We're going to start calling it the Borg mind meld now. We just kind of.
No, it's the nanobots. It's what she,
I know, but still.
Because that's what she has it. She has it internally. That's what she put in Girardi when she did the little whatevers. So that's why she needs the metal or whatnot to create them. So basically, that's what she's doing now. She has the capability of injecting these nanobots into them
into people.
Yeah, because that's how they initially.
But it's going to falter because we already heard Seven say it that she will assimilate, but she will do it. You know, like it won't be perfect. Or
it'll kind of be like the same thing Soong was doing with his genetic projects. You know, it's like, you know, like he was saying, you know, some survived. You know, it's like the first ones didn't make it, and this, that, and other. So it's going to be a really messed up experiment.
So they keep talking about the Europa mission, but like I said, it seems like that's happening. It's out of the way now. It's all about the Borg. She's trying to speed up the takeover of the Borg.
It'll probably come down to it.
So.
She'll probably end up on a damn ship or something crazy. Who knows?
Well, I mean, it's just like I said. They end up becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. Them coming to stop whatever was going to destroy the timeline is what ended up destroying the timeline. I did like the one explanation though with the guy that they turned. I didn't like the fact that he turned so quickly. I did like the explanation she gave him. She was like, maybe that in my culture that happened to you, so that way you could be at this moment and do this. And I was like, I mean, it's total theory, but I like the thought process.
Oh, the agent. Oh, I was lost there for a second.
Yeah. She was telling him, she was like, that was why that happened to you, was that way this, you could be here for this. And I was like, maybe,
Or that she was trying to validate, his. Ghana has a way of like spinning things to where it just sounds so sage-like.
You were a god, you just didn't know it yet.
Yeah, exactly.
You waited for this one moment, and now this moment has come, and it felt very anticlimactic for you and for the audience. You can go on your way. Your journey is complete.
With Q knowing that he's dying, he said Q knowing he is dying, but he said he didn't know why, correct? We haven't had that one answered yet. Do you think we'll find an answer, or they're just going to leave that kind of ambiguous?
I don't know. Like, I feel like as much as this show isn't general Star Trek episodes, meaning like it's not just like one or two episode like story arcs, more like Clone Wars-esque, I guess would be a better way for you to kind of think about it. If they destroy the like theology behind Q, then you limit yourself for future stories. And so that's not what Star Trek does. Star Trek always adds and then keeps retelling all these stories in a cycle. Okay. That's why the Borg show up, repeatedly from the first time they were ever brought in to everything else after that. And then you're still going to get the same thing. Like Q showed up not only in Next Generation, Q has continued to show up from place to place and show to show. So
I feel like they're going to figure out what his deal is. I don't really buy the whole like I'm dying, I'm fading out. I don't buy that.
Hopefully it's someone bigger doing something to him, and that becomes like the.
That's what I'm saying, because it's like in the past.
Season 3.
Yeah, in the past, there's always been something where you fucked up and this is your punishment, but we're not telling you it's your punishment. You've got to figure it out too. Kind of the same thing, the cat and mouse game he's always had with Picard. Because this ain't the first time that he snapped his fingers and it should happen.
All right. Okay, so I have two questions for y'all then. One is, how do they fix this? Because, like I said, they should just rename the show to Butterflies, because now it's out of the bag, man. You've got so many people that know about this. They're giving 0 Fs about telling people what's going on. Like, how does this get fixed unless you somehow make it so that way they never went back in time?
I think you have Rafi guilt trip him, because that girl's guilt trips are like super duper thick.
Yeah, she's pretty yeah.
So we don't. So y'all haven't. I mean, I was just thinking about that. And I guess that's a good part of the show. Is you have really. I can't tell what's going to happen next. But I'm not as big of a Star Trek fan. I would have more predictions, I'm sure, if I.
I really don't know either, honestly. I mean, because there's. It's like I have a gut feeling that it'll. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because I've speculated on things before and been like, oh, okay, that did not go like I thought that was gonna go. But okay, anyways, I'll roll with it.
Right. And my second question was, Strange New Worlds comes out soon, right? That's supposed to be like a totally new show. Totally new show, right? What if they set it up so that way, what happens here causes the new timeline for Strange New Worlds? What if they tie it all together, man?
No, all that came from Discovery.
Okay, never mind then.
So Discovery told the story that spawned Strange New Worlds. Mm-hmm. So, is there a possible way for them to bring it back together? Sure. Was it too much? I think it's way too much. Like, me, I'm a connected person. I don't feel like that needs to be a connection that we need to see.
Right.
So,
Well, in the
Panther.
whole grand scheme of things, Strange New Worlds, I mean, Pike, he was basically before Kirk.
Oh, so this is going way, way back.
Because you've got Pike, and then you have Spock, like the Spock. So it's almost kind of like it's like a precursor to the original series because you had Pike, and then you have Kirk. So you're in a totally different time frame.
Get your red yarn out. It's time to start making a timeline. You ready to have fun?
Red yarn thumbtacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I'm loving Picard. Like I said, I think it's right now currently the best show that I'm watching on television. As soon as this episode got done, I was like, oh my gosh! I know we were talking about last week how it's sometimes cool to have to do the weekly thing. Sometimes you want to see it. This is a situation where I really wish I could have just gone on to what was going to happen next. And like, okay, I want to watch these last 3 episodes like a movie. Like, give me a 2.5 hour movie for the last 3 episodes. I'm cool with that because now I'm super excited about what's going to happen. Because I was excited before, but
isn't it funny that all the shows that all shows typically come out and they give you like the first, second, or third episodes, if not like 1, 2, 3, bam, like right in the first week. But then like, nope. When you get towards the end, they're like, oh, we're gonna milk this. You just wait.
like I said, they wanted to be that water cooler show. And now it shows like us to talk about what's going to happen next or what we saw before. But,
yeah, someone asked me, so what's the show about that you do? I'm like, nothing.
we just talk.
It's like, what's it not about? We can say what it's not about.
Yeah. That's what it's not about. All right. Well, is there anything else about Picard? You know,
2 more, baby. 2 more.
I want to make predictions, but I just don't know enough about the universe to really make a solid prediction. I just want to.
I don't really either. I mean, because to me, I just want to see how they're gonna. That's the thing. It's going to get a lot worse. It's going to be a lot darker to where you're like, oh God, how in the hell are they going to get out of this one?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what I see it's leading towards. That's where this one. So depending on how this next episode rolls out, because it's going to get some crazy. It's going to get into some crazy shit. Especially anytime you bring Borg into it, especially the Borg Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you better buckle in because this shit's about to get bumpy, big time.
I do want to see Borg. I know we're not going to get like the physical like Borg stuff, but I want to see weird with it. We got 2
well,
episodes.
It's just like when you see it, yeah,
strange.
because when she put the nanos in her, and it's like you need like like the green little spikes and all this kind of stuff, and I don't know, it's going to be because like I said, when you're thinking of Borg, you're always thinking about the the implants and all that kind of stuff. Even Seven, she's like, I'm not Borg anymore because I don't have my ocular implant. I can't do this, that, and other.
Mm.
And it's just really, it's going to be really interesting to see how, it's kind of like from the start. It's like from the ground level, it's kind of like those experiments you do and it just shit goes all wrong because what's going to happen to these folks afterwards? They have all this, nanotechnology in there, but it's not really, they're just these little nanobots running wild. I mean, what's it going to do?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know any way that they can fix this problem that they've caused.
That's what I'm saying.
But
somehow, Picard and Q are going to figure some shit out, and Q's going to come back and fix it out.
They're going to get that building at the end of Terminator 2, and they're just going to put them into the whole thing of burning hot lava.
I can tell you, yeah. Thumbs up. I can tell you the one thing is the majority of them are going to survive because they've already announced season 3, right?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
No way.
Like no stakes for the end of this season because we know everybody survives. The good guys win. But it happens. All right, cool. Well, let's what we got? Halo left. That's it. So you're gonna jump off here.
You guys want to bow out so you guys can chit chat all you wish. Yeah, and I'll watch it and I'll let you guys know what I think.
Give us your thoughts. Yeah, I'll say because unlike Ross, I'm really enjoying Halo too, and I thought this week's episode was a really, really good episode. So
yeah, I'm liking Halo. I'm thinking maybe the only time Brian will watch it is like once all the episodes are in. Maybe he'll just binge watch it. I'm gonna make him. I'm like, just get over it. Get over it. Just watch the thing.
Put it on the big TV and turn it all the way up and be like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Come in here and sit down.
Well, we saw the first episode in the living room, and I was just like,
put it on every device in your house.
You just got to get over the first episode reveal. It's just get over it, dude. Just get over it.
I hear you.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just
I think he'll enjoy it whenever he's done. Like I said, unless it messes up at the end, it's on a pretty good track right now. So
yeah, I mean, I'm liking it. So, but anyways, all right, fellas. Well, have a good one. I will touch base with you, and like if anybody wants to get a hold of me, you can find me on obviously the Twitter at My Lady Kitten. Other than that, that's about it. So, good night, fellas, and I will chat with you later.
have a good one. Later.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
All right.
Oh,
Halo.
we're not going to hear her thoughts because she's not going to be here next week.
Not going to be here next week. Well, unless we do this show Saturday. We could always
Yeah,
push
maybe.
Saturday.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll talk to her. We might do it just so she can be on. So I'd like to hear it too. Well, let's talk Halo, man. So this is a show that, while most people, some of the problems I've heard, complaints I've heard, I haven't had those. I had the helmet thing in the first. I didn't care that he took the helmet off, but I felt like it was off too much. And I wanted some battle scenes. I got that in this episode, which is really cool. Like, this episode was the episode I needed. If they'd have gave me another episode where it was mostly talking, no action, and him out of the suit the whole time, I was going to be like, all right, this show is really starting to lose me with it. But they gave me exactly what I've been needing. They gave me a battle scene. They gave me some new things to think about with the characters. And I got to see him fight in the suit, which is what I want to see with Halo. I got to see game stuff. You know? Sound.
They literally called it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know how the game's played.
Yeah, I know the game's played. I heard that, and I even wrote that down. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Because I can imagine people screaming that all the time when somebody's yelling at you to do this. So, but let's get into it, man. So he has incomplete memories. We know something's going on with Halsey. We just don't know what yet. And she's apparently, I think Halsey is like the Q, and the Covenant is like the Borg. If you're going to compare those two shows, where you have two bad guys, but you got to handle both of them as this thing goes on, and they kind of tie into each other, but not really. You know what I mean?
Different angles. Okay.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Yeah. So it's not like one bad guy everybody's after. But Halsey's an asshole. I don't know what's going on, but she's just an asshole, dude.
Now, I remember thinking right at the beginning of this episode that mother does not care about daughter. Mm-hmm. And I felt like that was like they're holding the sign up. They're like, she doesn't care. But come towards the end of it, you see that the reason why they made it so apparent in the beginning of the episode. Because come towards the end, she's finally going out there and doing something to risk her own life in a way that she isn't benefiting from it. Like, whereas normally everything that she does is for what she thinks is the betterment of herself or science or human knowledge. This was literally her going out there to save her daughter at the end. And those two things were it was very much a scale. They started at the beginning and they're like, nope, scales this way. And at the end, they're like, nope, we got you. But I love the show could be so flat, and it is very multidimensional. Like, they have done a really good job with this show. I'm really enjoying it, mainly one, because it's a new story. Not that it's brand new, but it's a new story that we have. And two, that this to me is successful. Mm-hmm. Like, they are giving me a show based on a shooting game that, in theory, would not work. But it's working, except for the people who really love the game and live by that lore.
Right.
And refuse to change. It's working to me because it has changed and evolved into a TV show with a story, and they're doing it justice, I think.
Yeah.
When I say that it's multidimensional, we get, Kai has already pulled her, what are we calling that?
Pellet, I think. Pellet? Call it.
Yeah, pellet. Yeah. Okay. So Kai's already pulled her pellet. We're seeing now that, like, she's all smiles. Like, when she's talking to Master Chief and he's pulling her for duty, and just like everything that she's experiencing, you're like living life through almost like a kid, like everything's new to her, and it's just because it's new in a different way. And like, that's really exciting. And then you see how it really does come into play. Like, there's a reason why they have that pellet in them. And I knew that's why that it was in there, but it's interesting to see how they're showing it on the screen.
I agree.
And I really like that. I like how they're making it an issue.
Mhm.
And as much as you want to see her go and be happy and live her happy life, you're like, but she's a Spartan and she needs to be like a machine, and
Right.
she's no longer a machine.
Right. And I agree with you. I do like the way they depicted that, because it's showing that, I mean, even if you could just take, you wouldn't have to give them the suits and the powers. If you could just take emotion out of a battle like that, you would have so much more efficient soldiers. I don't want to say that soldiers aren't efficient. I'm not talking any shit or anything like that, but just in general, you would just be so much better. And I like how they showed us that, because they didn't show us that with John.
Yeah.
It did bother me that John pretty much grounded her for doing the exact same thing he did. And I get it. I got kids. I probably do the same thing. I probably leave a dish in my room sometimes, and I get mad at my kids for doing it. But it was like, dude, like, I don't know. John's in a weird spot right now. You know, he's got a lot going on in his mind on top of Cortana being in there.
Yes.
And I did like the conversation where he was like, I can't even hear myself think. And she was like, it's not a sparkling conversation or something like that.
Yeah, she's gotten snappy.
It's not great. There's no more.
Yeah. Or snippy, not snappy.
Yeah. I say, as far as I remember the game, Cortana was a partner, a good person for him. So I imagine by the end of this,
clearly that's the arc they're going for. You know, like they're starting this off with making it very difficult, because you have to. You put a voice in my head that doesn't belong there with the other 13 that I have in there, you're going to bring up problems. You know, I mean, like
especially when you can shut him down, and he didn't realize he could do that. Like that's.
I knew that was the reason why they put Cortana in his head to begin with. Cortana was the safety switch, the skill switch. So even though she doesn't have full control, she still has enough to be like, nope, you're done.
Yep. And it always, it raises the question, if you were able to get this kind of stuff, but you could be in full control of somebody else at any point in time, would you do it?
And it goes right back to the Kai issue. What is it without Cortana? Like, how do you control the uncontrollable? Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, she's fucking huge. Either that or the daughter, Halsey's daughter, is very small. When they were standing next to each other, she was easily 1.5 feet taller than her.
Dude, no, Kennedy's like 6'3".
Yeah, she was huge. Yeah. I was like, wow, I did not know she was that tall. That's crazy. So okay, just so I'm making sure I know. That girl is Halsey's and the captain's daughter, right?
The admiral's daughter, yeah.
Oh,
he's captain, I guess, is what he refers to him as, but yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it had to have been even harder for him to go tell his daughter that, for him to put her on this assignment, and then 2, for him to have to take it off. Which, by the way, was kind of crazy. He took her off it because they basically got blackmailed by Halsey, right? Which, man, she is fucking cutthroat, dude.
Oh yeah.
She don't care, and the emotions she has, she's playing the character very well, because it just looks like she does not care about anything she's saying. Like she honestly believes that what she's doing is good. Huh?
Mm-hmm. She's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, like she truly believes that what she's doing is like good, and and to a certain extent it is. But you're kind of crossing the line.
They're showing singular focus. And she is hard charging for one goal. And now that she knows this artifact thing exists, she wants to know everything about it. It's obsession, but obsession is a common thing that pushes science. Right. And so it's very interesting to see how well they're showing her obsessed without making it seem like it's too crazy of an addiction or too crazy of a... they're showing the sacrifice being the family. They're showing the sacrifice being... the disregard for power, and like the only thing that she's interested in is when she gets her new thing that she wants to sink her teeth in, like her teeth are all the way in it. Mm-hmm. And she's riding the line because she does have the things from the past showing up for John and his family, or his upbringing. And she knows that those are there, and she's riding that line. Like, if I go too far and he finds out too much, something's going to go wrong. And that's essentially what happens in this episode, is that they're stretching out that one problem to the whole episode. Mm-hmm. So it's funny to see the flip of, I guess we just call him the captain. It's funny to see his take on this whole entire situation, and how happy he is to bring his daughter in and be like, look, now's your time. Only to turn around and be like, oh, your mom screwed us again, so here we are. to
That's
have
got to be a
John go to
crazy
him.
relationship, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Because
you
he's
guys
the caring one, like
Yeah.
she does not care. It's almost like she birthed, baby fell out, and then baby went away.
Which I'm assuming this all happened after they adopted John or kidnapped John because he's older than her, right?
Yes.
So I would think he would be, but I'm not sure.
And I'm not sure if they're a couple or if they just, had one hot night together. So
Right, or used to be married, something like that. You're right. They do. That's the father and mother, but I guess they don't ever say that they're married, right?
yeah, they definitely seem more like accomplices. Like they worked together on the Spartan project, and then, boop, baby.
Something happened. Yeah, one drunk night.
Hmm.
Let's talk about Quan and gosh, what's the guy's name? I can't remember his friend.
Soren.
Soren. Dude's gonna walk 100 miles in the desert. I mean, I guess when
Man,
you got
did
to, you got to, you know.
Well,
And
I
how
thought
many
he walked
rocks are you gonna
100.
smash? How many rocks are you gonna smash against this damn chain before you realize it's not gonna break? Even though I guess it did. The chain didn't break, but got out.
She goes crazy, and not only does she go crazy, she does a fantastic job of
Oh yeah,
showing that craziness. Because I could only imagine.
Jinx and
Only
Arcane.
imagine. Yeah.
Yep. Jinx and Arcane, my teenage daughters. Yes, that's exactly how those kind of fits happen. That's exactly what I was thinking when that happened. I was like, that's the most realistic thing I've seen on this show.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, like that's exactly how a girl that age would freak out, or a boy that age too would freak out in a moment like that. You know?
Yeah, you're essentially you're trapped, like anyone feels like they're trapped, whether it be physically or metaphorically, like that feeling sucks. And like she expressed every ounce of that feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But no, that was pretty cool. To have, hell, I vaguely remember what happened at the end. I know that he came back with the.
Well, he went to go save Kai instead of getting the artifact back to the ship.
No. Soren went to go get the buggy or what, like the next vehicle, and then he came back looking for her and only saw the bike for a minute. But I don't remember what happened after that.
I think it just slipped away. I don't think anything else, because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think anything else happened either.
Okay.
I think it just went to the next scene. But let's talk about that scene that I was talking about. So I thought Kai was going to die, to be honest with you. I really did. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I hate to see her go, but they're going to sacrifice this character so that way you know what the penalty is for taking that pill.
Yeah, Kai wasn't even involved. I mean, like, he got that extra sense. Like what he went to. He was standing next to the artifact. Did he touch the artifact at that point?
Who?
John. Because he notices that Cortana says that, there's a slip space.
Right. And whatever. That's when you know that the Covenant.
He's like, incoming, and then the battle starts, which thank God, because like you said last week, like we needed more of that. And man, did we get it. Like
I knew a battle was coming. This one was setting up for it. Like when they were like, they're looking for the artifact, and then the Covenant finds out where it's at. I'm like, okay, this is where it's going to go down. It's either going to go down right here or it's going to set you up so the very beginning of the next episode's like that. But I'm glad they did it this episode. I don't think it was as good as the battle scene in the first episode, but it was still cool to see Spartans in action. Once again, I love the sound effects when they're getting hit. Yeah,
they didn't really show I don't think it was as cool because they didn't own it as much as they could have. They're showing that that silver team is fractured. One, because of Kai, and two, because they were ambushed. Mm-hmm. All the factors that were involved with this. The fact that they could run with that buggy, like watching them just go, like, dude, the action was amazing. Like, I don't think it was as good as the first one, but the first one ripped the Band-Aid off and made Halo like a visual spectacle. And then like this one is like, I don't think it was meant to top that. It's meant to show the struggle. It's meant to show how powerful that the Covenant is, because you do need to see that. If you're not fighting a formidable foe, then what are you doing?
Right.
So, like you said,
shit out of them too, man. Like they got the drop on them. It was crazy. I forgot what I was going to say about that. We'll talk about the fight scenes. You get to see Makey. Is that her actual name in this one? Which is she comes in at the end with the damsel in distress thing.
Again.
She's going to take over from the inside. It's going to be crit string. But now, I remember the question I was going to ask. They get away with the second piece of the artifact. But they don't have the first one, right? The one that John stole in the beginning?
No. Yes,
they only have
correct.
that second one now, which is the bigger keystone, she says. So I don't know. I still am trying to figure out how this works. And I think that's kind of what they want. They want people to not fully understand exactly what this is. And that's going to be kind of the reveal at the end. I'm not sure. But with those battle scenes,
square peg only accept a square peg only goes into a square hole. So
right.
That's all the knowledge that we have about this so far.
Mm-hmm. I did want to say too that the battle scenes, you're right. I agree. It's not as good as the first one, but realistically, the best battle scenes in a show like this should be the first one that you're introduced to and the finale. Yep. Like if those aren't the two best battle scenes you see, then they did something wrong.
But man, was pulling out some guns.
The hallway scene was in like episode 4 of Daredevil, and that was an amazing fight scene. I don't know where this is going, man. Like I said, I don't have a big knowledge of Halo other than a little bit I played of the game, what I've seen on the show, but I'm really enjoying the story so far. They've nailed the casting. I think that suit, that practical suit, it might be one of the baddest ass looking suits in any kind of thing like this that we watch, because it's pretty. Every time I see one, I'm like, I want to buy one. I want to buy one. I want to buy one. Are the helmets really that easy to take on and off, though, is my question.
No. So actually, Paramount Plus does. Everyone's doing it now for everything, minus like Disney. Disney's not doing it yet. All of these shows are getting their after show.
Okay.
Picard has an after show with Will Wheaton. And I caught myself because I started watching it at the beginning of each of the shows that we're watching, but it always shows like clips from next week, and I realized I was really screwing myself because I didn't know what was next week and what wasn't. So I always stopped watching those. But in the after show for this episode of Halo, they had, I believe her name is Kate Kennedy, who plays Kai, and all of the weapons and like training and stuff. And so they're on a military base training, and like they're teaching them. I'm only because I know what a military base looks like. In the background, they're out there like doing straight up, weapons drills and like CQ stuff and like all sorts of stuff. But everyone, all the actors and the stunt doubles are always like, you gotta like shimmy your head out of it. Like it's almost like a motorcycle helmet. It's not as easy as what they're showing.
Making out to be. I was wondering that because I was like, that head, like the hull has to be smaller than your head for it to stay on. But they just seem to like pop them right on and off, and I was like, oh well, movie magic.
Especially John. I mean, but hey, you should make it look easy. I mean, it's in the future. It should better be easy.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, how cool would that have been? Like, I remember when I was in the Army, like the coolest thing that happened, like as far as that kind of stuff, was the WWE came and did the tribute for the troops, and my unit hosted it. So I got to hang out with all the wrestlers, sit front row and all that stuff. Could you imagine being like, hey, Halo's coming to film here. We've got to train these guys, or we've got to, to help them out. Like, that would be so freaking cool, because that kind of stuff happens,
They did all really the Transformer stuff.
Yeah.
Certain bases that I was at, and Iron Man stuff at certain bases I was at.
While you were there?
Not while I was there, but a lot of ones that I flew a lot of missions too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dude, that would be something. That'd be a cool detail to pull in the military. That's all I'm saying. That'd be a really cool detail. I'm trying to think what else about Halo. Do you think that the other Spartans end up taking their pellets out too? Do you think by the end of the show we have 4 free-thinking Spartans?
I don't. I think what we're gonna have is a science project with Kai, and I don't know. I don't think John's gonna reveal that she pulled her pellet out. However, he clearly sees it as an issue, and this ending of this episode proved that it's an issue. Yeah. So what's going to come of it, I don't know. I don't think that anyone's going to say anything, but it's going to have to be the unspoken story arc that comes in at the worst possible time.
Right.
So I don't think the other two are going to pull their pellets out. I don't think they have any ambition to. I find it strange that Kai even wanted to, but hopefully we find out more about that.
Right. Because she even said in here when you had your pellet in, she was asking the other guy, I can't remember his name because I never say it. You never wondered why.
Oh yeah.
You do this. So yeah, I guess it would make you wonder why she wondered why it would be like to take the pellet out when she saw it. But she saw Master Chief do it. I mean, at least she had an example. She didn't just do it for the hell of it.
There's got to be some negativity that comes from all this, some sort of backlash, because the fact that there's no, Cortana can't find the origin of the Spartan program or any of the files to come with it. All of that is playing into something bigger. So,
do you think she's lying, or do you think those probably destroyed just to cover up the whole everything, the kidnappings and everything else that we still don't have the full story about?
Yeah.
So,
but the problem is that if they show that, then what's it going to undo?
Right.
Because if the whole thing is proven unethical, then do you fix it? They can't, because that's their asset. You can't get rid of your best weapon whenever you're losing a war.
True.
Because let's face it, I mean, without the Spartans, they're not doing anything. Those Marines did nothing.
No. And they had like a pseudo version of their armor, like the Spartans armor, and I was like, nah.
Very Starship Troopers.
Yeah, that doesn't look. Yeah, there you go. Very Starship Troopers.
It makes me think about it every time I see. I don't know what it is. It's like that. It's like the indoor helmet from Return of the Jedi. It's real simple. I was
thinking the same thing too. Yep.
And when I see it, I'm like, man, that's like they look like Starship Troopers. Like it comes out and it's like, Chief, here's your gun. Like he takes it and just like. You can't promote or progress or rank up to a Spartan level. Like you're a Spartan or you're not.
Right.
And so it's funny because all these Marines treat them like gods. Mm-hmm. Like they all move. Even if they're like marching in formation, like they get out of the way. Like Spartans do not care. They got to get from A to B, and if you're in between their way, you will stop.
Well, it almost seems like they kind of don't have orders. Like you're here and these are your bosses and they're going to give you an objective. But between this, you just do it however you want to do it and just get it done. Utility players in sports. It's kind of like
just keep taking the pant leg out of the suit. Like he needs more room for his gigantic swinging manhood. People.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah. The last question I have for Halo. I know I took notes. I can't find it, but I do remember one thing I wrote down. Does Soren's suit just grow with him? Because wasn't he like 13 or 14 whenever he left, and he still has that Spartan suit, and now it fits him as an adult? I don't know about that. Of course, he's a pirate. He may have somehow stole Spartan suit.
No, that's his gear. I mean,
it does have the number on and everything. Yeah.
Right. I'd like to think at that age, it does seem to be a little ill-fitting. Mm-hmm. So, yeah,
probably make modifications to it, I'd imagine. He's probably figured something out to do something like that. He lives in a freaking asteroid belt.
The fact that he's still wearing it shows that he's holding on to his past, so.
Oh, man, dude, even if I burned a bridge with them, I would still keep that armor.
I'm not saying I wouldn't keep it. I'm just not saying that I would wear it all the time.
Yeah. I don't know. If Spartans were some of the most feared things in the universe by people, it'd be cool to look like one. But yeah, it would put a big target on your back.
For the same reason that people don't like watching this show. The helmet is pretty much the thing that would be the one thing.
Happened. That's what happened with Quantum Soren. Remember, he was looking for her. He went over to the bike, and she tased him from behind. Pulled out the gun. And I was like, "You're really going to pull out a gun and shoot this guy?" I mean, granted, he did just handcuff you to a motorcycle and leave you. I get you, but seriously?
That's because if you said stay put, she wouldn't stay put. Yeah. I'm going to tie it down to an anchor. Don't go anywhere.
An anchor on wheels. Yeah, her trying to roll it through the desert. I was like, I wonder how long you would do that for. You're just like, nope. And then you would stop, and then later on you would start doing it again because it must be the only way.
My brain was like, there's so many downhill directions, and you're choosing all the uphill ones. Why? Like, if you're going the wrong direction, then I'm sorry. Maybe you should at least go back to where you started from.
Yeah.
Go downhill.
And they must have a great sense of navigation if he was going to walk 100 miles in the desert and then find her again. Great sense of direction. But
I'm assuming they still play the sun game in planets like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they have some kind of marker. Smarter than me. I'm sure they could figure it out. I don't know, man. Is there anything else about Halo? This show's really good. The only character I don't like on Halo that I like, I just can't stand seeing. I was like, oh, they could do without this guy and it'd be great. Is her little assistant, the Pearl
I
one
knew
who
you
tried
were
to
going to
kiss the
say
clone.
that.
It's like, dude, this guy.
Yeah.
Every scene they have, man, it's like, ugh. Get
No,
this
I
guy out
feel
of here.
like they're like trying to place him in a position where he's going to do like the one thing that like, oops, and then spirals into like the main ending problem.
Probably
You
a
know,
good point.
'cause even
And he'll
with this
probably
one, he's
die,
like,
too.
I can't leave without the artifact or whatever he was saying, and to a point where you're just like, I think he's going crazy. Like he may be losing it.
He's like Halsey light, Halsey. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Other than that, man, like I said, and that's not even something that makes me upset about the show. I just don't like that character, but I'm loving this show. It's a toss up between this. It's not a toss up. I like Picard a little better, but this one, there's weeks where I'm willing to bet if there's a week episode of Picard, which I hope there's not going to be, with just the penultimate finale left, I could see this show like having a better week. Really enjoying the storyline. This is one that I have people come to me at work and ask me, have you seen New Halo yet? I'm like, no, I saved that stuff for Friday. But yes, I definitely want to see it. So I talked to him about last week's episode. But yeah, it's taking people that I wouldn't imagine would like this show and watching it. Like I even got Ashley to watch the first episode with me, and she was just like, "Oh, well, I guess we got to watch the second one." It was late, so we didn't. But now I've actually got her into it, just the first episode. I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll just start that back up sometime, and we'll watch the whole thing." So they did a good job appealing to general audience.
I will tell you that I put the first episode back on while like making dinner, and I've been in and out of the house quite a bit, and then like that one night, like I was like, I just want to watch the first episode again, which is weird because I don't normally like go back to a show when it's still on.
Right.
And so I think what I really like about it is just that it's truly original. Not original. It's a new, different take that's not like straight comic book, even though like I know it's from a game. It's good to see because it's a fresh story. Right. And that much I do enjoy. Because I know, and here's the thing, like I know that going with having Doctor Strange coming out in 2 weeks, I'm going to have to like rewatch like some stuff to really go into that knowing, because like I'm going to have to like WandaVision and What If, like the specific episodes, especially like get an idea.
Episodes 5, 6, and 7 or What If. Brent from Geek Ultimate Alliance, he put out a watch list the other day of stuff he needed to watch before Multiverse Madness, and it was a pretty extensive list. And I was like, he's like, this is everything that he thinks is going to tie into it. So I was like, well, pretty. I'll see if I can find it for you. But
I've had the same process.
I think
and like
Days of Future Past was on the list too. The X-Men Days of Future Past movie was on the list. I know that WandaVision was. I know that the latest Spider-Man movie was. I know that it was like 3 episodes of What If. I think it was like 4, 5, and 6. But like, he had a pretty extensive list, and I was like, oh, that's actually a pretty good idea, because I'm willing to bet. I think some of them are predictions of what he thinks is going to have to do with it, and some obviously is going to have to do with it. So it would be interesting if Days of Future Past tied into this thing.
We got to have something that's going to give us the X-Men tie-in, because I think that all that they're going to do is just bait us enough to think that they got the X-Men up and going. And I think what they're going to do is the smarter thing, and it's just start to sprinkle it in here and there. And like as you see it, it becomes it's easier to introduce something into the water than it is to change what the person's drinking. So I feel like that's how they're going to do this whole entire swap over.
I agree. It's just they have the issue of, and this is why bringing them in from another universe is, to me, the only thing that makes sense is X-Men are not characters that you can just drop in. Like, you can't like start Wolverine up now. You can't start Magneto up now. Like, the history of Magneto and Xavier and everything is a huge part of the X-Men. You have to have that in there. You can't I guess you could. I don't think it's a good idea if they were like, this guy just got magnetic powers and now he's a bad guy. He's named Magneto. And like, he just started in 2017. It's like
That has been going all around the internet. How do they start that story without it being involved with World War II?
But if you pull it from a multiverse, you
Right.
can do that. You
And
don't have to have the
that's-
exact same history, but you can have a history, because that's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. Is look, the what's the name? Professor X and Magneto are loosely based off of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. You know, so you have to have that history of those two, because it's such a strong part of their one being both of them wanting the same thing, but going about it different ways.
Yeah, no,
you know?
you're always gonna get
So-
that. I mean, that connection between the two of them will never get lost, unless they do something extremely screwed up. They're not going to change the overall dynamic of the character. All they're going to do is just change the scenario in which they exist.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I guess that makes sense. They can do that. And you could even write them to have like those two characters to have a history together and then get superpowers, even though they've already had a history together.
Mhm.
You know, so you could do it like that, I guess. It's just a lot of toying with people's emotions with X-Men.
Yeah, but here's the deal. It's just like Halo. Like, how do you do something without pissing people off? And at the end of the day, you just have to do it. And look, it can be done wrong, absolutely.
Right.
But how do you do it without pissing everyone off is truly the question. You know, coming out with a Halo movie, you're not going to make, or movie show, you're not going to make everyone happy. Right. Just like with anything else going forward, how are you going to introduce anything into the MCU that should have existed years prior? And I think the whole reason to start the multiverse conversation is that it's not going to be like, now there's no rules, but it's going to be more like, now we have a deeper understanding, because we've had no understanding of it.
True.
The multiverse has always been something that's existed in the comic books, but we don't know how it plays into the MCU. And now that we're going to start getting taste of it, I think what they're going to do is teach us, like, it has always existed. Mm-hmm. No one has just figured out how to navigate it until now. We're reaching a point between time travel, Strange reaching a point where he's powerful enough and being the Sorcerer Supreme and making the moves. Like, we're going to start seeing how it exists, because probably for everyone else that's going to be on if it's the Illuminati court or whatever the case may be that comes out of Doctor Strange, that's all going to be people who know that the multiverse exists.
Right.
And maybe like this universe is finally going to get like now you're going to be involved with it. Now you're going to be a player in the game rather than not knowing anything about it prior to.
Makes sense. Like, I get that. I mean, and it's hard to introduce this stuff because now you're getting beyond the average comic book readers. I don't want to say average comic book readers. The average person's knowledge of comic books, they stepped out of that realm a little bit in the Avenger or the Infinity Saga. Mm-hmm. But it's like I always tell people always try to say, well, they took C characters and made them stars. No. My mom, who's never read a comic book in her life, I guarantee you, has heard of the Incredible Hulk, knows who Iron Man is, has heard of Thor, has heard of Captain America. So they may not have been. This was one of Marvel's first, comic book groups, is the Avengers. So I mean, it's not like they were nobodies. They took and it was great writing, great story, part of it, but I can't stand when people make the argument, well, they were, second-rated characters that they brought to the forefront and made them so great. I'm like, well, they pretty much. I mean, my kids never read a comic book, and they could have said before, I told you Iron Man. Well, actually, kids weren't born when Iron Man came out. You know what I mean, though? Like people have that knowledge. You can know this kind of stuff. You know who the Flintstones are if you've never seen the Flintstones, just from just walking around and seeing stuff in life. You've seen that kind of stuff. So I don't know, but once again, that's just my own personal thing. Maybe they did take C-rated characters, and now they have their top dogs back, Spider-Man and X-Men. So
look, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Right. The good stories.
Yeah, it's gonna be a contentious point to have anything be introduced. Like here, it's you're not going to be able to make it work without people being happy and unhappy at the same time.
Right.
So
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those things you're going to have to disappoint some people. I think it is a little different with X-Men and Halo, though, because I think there's a lot more hardcore X-Men fans than
yeah,
hardcore Halo fans. Now, there might be more overall Halo fans in this day and age than X-Men fans, but as far as like hardcore, 'cause you got to think about it, almost every kid games. We grew up gaming, so it's been around for a while, and kids love the game. But I don't know about hardcore ones that would be upset about what they're doing with Halo. But there are a lot of people who, if they don't get it right with X-Men, and it doesn't help that we had some characters that were cast perfect beforehand. It's going to be hard to replace Wolverine. It's going to be hard to replace, Magneto. It's going to be hard to replace some of these characters, because those guys were it.
I don't know what you're going to do to. I'm more worried about the actual transition. Like if they I have no problem. Like their casting has been on point. They've never struggled. The problem is that we as fans have to let go of what we think that we consider the best, I guess.
Right.
Even though we saw all that.
People need to get the idea out of their head that if it's not what you expected, it can still be good.
Yeah.
You can, and granted, if it's not what you expected, you can be disappointed in it. But like I've seen the Batman, for example, not what I expected. Still a good movie, but just because it wasn't what I expected didn't make it terrible. That other people can write something or have an idea for something other than me, and it'd be a good idea. And that's what I think what a lot of people get wrapped up on is this isn't what I wanted, so it's just not good.
Currently I'm battling with the gore character. I mean, like if Christian Bale's gore doesn't, if it isn't menacing and isn't, I don't know, I guess just different than what I've actually seen, then I may struggle with it. But at the same time, that's just me thinking about it right now. Like I'm not going to go into it thinking that he's going to be the worst thing possible.
Right.
Look, everyone hated what they did with Iron Man 3 and the Mandarin. I don't think that they rectified that situation with Shang-Chi. But at the same time, I'm fine. I don't care. I got other movies that I like. I don't need to live and die on that hill. It's perfectly okay. Right. Because you know what? They told those stories and they're done. Everything from here on forward is going to be something different.
Yeah, I'm finally past the point where even if I see a comic movie that I don't like, which doesn't really happen very much, that I dislike, it would ruin my life.
Yeah.
I'm past that point in my life. It's like, okay,
I don't have to. No. Here's the deal. I don't have to talk about the crap that I don't like.
I wish people took that stance with social media.
Yeah, well, yes.
If you see something you don't like, guess what? Just keep scrolling. You don't have to read it. You don't have to comment on it.
Full circle, right back to the Thor conversation. Now, a lot of people did not like Ragnarok, but at the same time, if I didn't like something, I didn't like Dark World. And look, there are parts of it that I do like, but the movie in a whole, I'm like, nah, whatever. Yeah. I don't sit there and say that I hate it every single time.
You're not a gatekeeper.
I'm just like, man, whatever.
Don't tell me your opinion is the only opinion, and if they don't agree with you, they're wrong. Gatekeepers. So
people have such strong opinions that they just can't let go of. I'm like, well, your hands wouldn't hurt so bad if you let go a little while.
Also, people used to be able to, but now that they can have an echo chamber that everybody can hear their opinions, and they see that there's somebody around the world that has their same opinion as them, because there's going to be somebody, no matter what your opinion is, that has the same opinion as you. Now it's on, baby. Everybody's going to hear my opinion. That's why. That's what I'm telling you, man. I said goodbye to Facebook a long time ago, and I am this close to being done with Twitter because, I just realized, I don't even get on there but once a week now, just barely even at all. And it's only and then I get on there, and it only takes me 2 or 3 minutes to get on there and see something that gets me fired up. And I used to respond to it, and then I got to a point where I would type up a whole thing, and right before I hit send, I would be like, no, I shouldn't do this. And now I just look at it and I'm just like, let's close the Twitter app. That just ruined my day. I didn't need to see somebody say that or just close the Twitter app. I've got a lot of good stuff and a lot of good friends out of Twitter, from the show and everything else. And I still interact with those people through other means. But yeah, social media is just not working for me anymore, man. I'm about ready to say goodbye to it again.
There is just something that, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and there's plenty of people that would like to talk to. I mean, like there are people who are on podcasts I listen to. I'm like, we live like the same life, like every bit of it. Like we study the same things, we think the same way. Like we could be total friends. Like we will never meet. But at the same time, I'm like, sorry, I'm not going to join social media to talk to you.
Right. Yeah, that's the trick. That's one of those things. It's like, you can have this ability, but here's the trick type thing. It's like in Spartans. All right, man. Was there anything else about Halo? I think we've pretty much wrapped this one up. We got
No,
what?
we are
This
in
is
the
episode
5. Yeah,
5.
we just crest the middle.
Okay, cool. We got 5. So this is the only one that we're going to be watching first. This is going to be the longest one we're watching. The other 2
We will have 4 more episodes of this, 2 more of the other shows. And then, if we go to the movies and shows listing,
Strange coming out.
Let's see, Flight Attendant just came out, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. Ozark Season 4 comes out pretty soon.
Oh, the second half? Yes.
Oh, yeah. And then on the 6th is Doctor Strange. Oh, I'll take that back. On the 5th is when the next Star Trek show comes out.
Okay. And that's right. So, that's actually as soon as Picard ends. So
as soon as Picard ends.
Right there, I guess. Yeah. Start covering that one.
Right.
Yeah, there's always stuff out there.
Wait a second. Is that the same week? It's the same week.
What, the finale?
The finale and the premiere. I hate Star Trek marketing. I hate it.
Not good.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
You? Yeah. Why would you do that? Give Picard its own week. Come on, that's horrible. Oh, I don't like that at all.
I've told you. You know me in this group chat of ours. I have been giving them the business. Like I hate it, and this is why.
You know what though? I don't like the idea of it, but I'm still going to watch both of them. And
I know.
Both of them, so
I'm just trying to prove a point.
Right. Lipstick on a pig here, man.
Yeah. But then Obi-Wan come 27th. So, nice. You know, there is, we didn't really talk about it on this show because it didn't really connect any of us, but like, did you watch the trailer for the Miss Marvel show?
Yes.
And what did you real simple, like, what did you think about it?
I watched it, but I'm not going to lie, I can't remember a ton of it.
Okay.
Like enough to really, I'd have to watch it again. I mean, it was one of those things, it's another Marvel show.
Yeah.
You know, like, I could not see anything about it and just know that it's another Marvel show and I'm going to watch
it. People were unhappy because of her powers were portrayed in a different way. I don't know how much you know about Miss Marvel. Yeah. And so, like, everything that they have brought out has always been, you know, like she is able to, like, manipulate her body, like, physically. Mm-hmm. And in the show, it's done more through a... it's all CG, but it's done in a manner that isn't her actual physical body, like enlarging, like it's
right, like an extension of her body.
Kinda, yeah.
But not her actual body. Yeah.
And so the trailer came out and I thought the trailer was magnificent, but I know that it's not geared towards me.
Right.
It's definitely more of a youth, high schooler, middle schooler show. I mean, like, it's made for like younger people. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm telling you, like, it gives me major Spider-Man vibes. Like, Spider-Man has always been the unaged character. Mm-hmm. We actually didn't get an aged Spider-Man. I mean, a little bit in the Raimi, but not until like Into the Spider-Verse.
Right.
When they jumped to the older Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. And so this to me kind of feels like it could do the same thing. And like I said, I mean, the soundtrack music they chose, the visuals they did, the fact that it was very much Scott Pilgrim-y with like some of the camera shots.
I like that movie.
Yeah, I mean, like it looks like it's going to be like a real fun show, and she looks like she's having a time of her life making it and being, you know, Kamala. She makes a point in that trailer to have fun with it. But yeah, I think that is our next Marvel show.
Yeah. Okay. I'm down. Like I said, it's Marvel. I mean, nothing. I haven't had anything. So sell me on the character.
It's going to be, let's see, Obi-Wan is 6 episodes. It's going to be intermingled with Obi-Wan.
I got a feeling this is going to be a little like you said, kind of you got a Spider-Man Stargirlish, like a mixture
Yeah,
between the two,
yeah.
kind of like that. So
But I just it didn't get the. I guess it didn't get the publicity because of like the type of show that it's going to be, and it's not really for like, even though it's for Marvel people, like it is definitely for like younger Marvel people.
right,
And I don't
they're
feel like
trying to
we've
get a
gotten
new group of people
correct.
into it. You know,
I don't feel like we've gotten enough of them really trying to grab the next generation.
Mhm.
Everything that they've given us, the whole reason why I think like a bunch of that stuff works is because it's from like our childhood. You
Right.
know, a lot of things that we know and read and looked at, and we were able to bring our younger kids and everything else, like family
Stories to
members,
life.
into it
Yeah.
for this. And this kind of feels like it's its own thing to where it's like now it can be the kids thing.
Mhm.
But
Well, it's like I said, it's the reason why I'm not been as excited, but beyond the fatigue, it's just because I'm not as knowledgeable about these characters. So I'm still excited for it, but I'm not as excited as when I heard about the first Avengers movie coming out. God, I remember that night. I remember seeing it in theaters like that night. Holy shit! Infinity War, like that night. Holy shit! Like there's certain things that will always stick out in my mind like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm sure my daughter's gonna watch it, and I'm gonna go give it a watch with her and see if she likes it.
yeah, I'm not sure how many episodes it's supposed to be, but like I said,
I would be
yeah,
willing to bet 6 or
probably
8. It's kind of
somewhere in
Marvel's
there.
wheelhouse. It's a good formula, not too much filler, but long enough to give a good story.
We're going to be sitting on. See, we will finish 2 shows next week or week after next. We will pick up a fresh show that week. We will still have Halo. We will pick up Obi-Wan.
Yep.
And we will move into. If you ever watch Stranger Things, you can have that.
Yeah. Got Top Gun too coming out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I think, like I said, it's Miss Marvel, and then shoot, we got to be getting close to Umbrella Academy at some point.
Yeah.
That's in June too. I think that's like a week before my birthday or something.
Okay, I'm excited for it. There was something I saw the other day that was coming out on June 28th, and I can't remember what it was. I'm sorry, I didn't just drop a birthday out there like that, but there was something I was like, oh, that's Ross's birthday. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, he'll be excited that it comes out on his birthday. But damn, I can't remember what it is now. Oh well, I'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll hear about it or talk about it or watch it on the two. But yeah, man, that's about it. Well, you want to go ahead and get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
I keep leaning back from the mic and talking. I shouldn't do that.
Sarah leaves, we get off the rails.
Well, I always lean back when somebody else is talking, but then like I don't realize when it's just the two of us that I'm leaning back and I'm the one talking. I'm like, oh, I can't be doing that. But I've only been on doing this for 4 years now, so at some point in time I'll get that. But which, by the way, our 4-year anniversary is coming up pretty soon too, or the start of our 4th year. So I guess that would be our 4-year anniversary. Yeah, completed 3, beginning 4. Yeah, just like wedding. Okay. All right. Well, cool, man. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna try to do some fun stuff for that. Maybe have a few guests on. Calcaterra. I don't know why right now. I can't remember her name. The Path of the Pale Rider came on a few weeks ago.
Oh yes.
She just messaged me. She's live, so I'm gonna try to get her stuff on here so that way I can promote that because I do want to buy that comic from her. And she wants to come on sometime with us again, talk. So we'll have her on sometime. But yeah, man, we got lots and lots.
Now she can tell me how wrong I was about the Star Wars character.
I know.
Like, I'm sorry, my headcanon and the Mandela effect. I don't know. There's too many things going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure she'll be there to explain it. So
multiverse. That's what I'm keep saying.
Exactly.
They exist, just not in this universe.
Well, we don't know that. It could be existing. Oh, you're talking about her universe. I thought you meant our universe.
My universe.
There's a multiverse everywhere. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going with.
1,000 possibilities. But all right, let's get out of here, man. You can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter for I don't know how much longer because I'm about to kick that out. At SCS Podcast 1 is the show handle. If I get off Twitter, I'll try to find some other means. Maybe I'll get Sarah to promote the show because she'll still be on Twitter. But I'll try to find some other means to get the show out, promoted out there. But
just make a good way to promote newsletter.
Yeah, there you go. But a good way to promote the show is to give us a like, write a review, tell a friend, share the show, come on the show with us, talk in the chat. We'll talk about the stuff you talk about. We'll put it up on the show on the screens where everybody can see it. But yeah, just fans interacting, man. That's the best thing. So come on, we'll interact with you and tell a friend about it, man. Let's grow. 4 years, let's get a fan base built up. But if not, we're just gonna come here and talk anyway. That's what we like to do. So,
I'm new.
that's right. Well, let's get out of here, man. I will catch you next week, and until then, I guess later, Skater. Later, Skater.
You later, guys.